What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. A while back I made some art inspired by Jujutsu Kaisen, with Goku being possessed by King Piccolo the same way Yuji is possessed by Sukuna. And a lot of people apparently wanted it to be a real what if, so here we are today. By the way, if you haven't seen JJK, it doesn't really matter. The only inspiration we take here is how Goku and Piccolo work. You don't need any of the context from that series. Although if you have seen it, you'll probably appreciate this a lot more. Anyways, let's begin this new scenario. What if Goku was Piccolo's vessel? This starts during the fight with King Piccolo, right after Goku arrives. The difference here is Tien tries to use the Mafuba again. He sees how dire the fight's getting, and with all of his strength left, he goes for the container that he brought along with him. It's cracked, but he thinks he could still help. Maybe there's a slight chance the Mafuba actually will work, and even if it doesn't, it should catch Piccolo off guard and probably weaken him just enough to help Goku a little bit. It's risky, especially with how injured and tired out he is, but he doesn't want to just sit by and do nothing. As Goku continues fighting Piccolo, Tien prepares the Mafuba, and suddenly, Piccolo's caught up by it. Immediately terrified that he's going to be sealed away again, Tien yells out to Goku, asking him to go grab the container quick. So Goku goes to it as quick as possible, holding it out to catch Piccolo. But as Piccolo enters the container, the essence of him that's sealed away seeps through the crack, redirecting the Mafuba into Goku. Tien's on the ground barely alive, losing consciousness for a bit. When he wakes up, he also sees Goku on the ground, fearing that he's dead, but he's also unconscious. Piccolo's nowhere to be seen, and the container's open. But Tien can sense him. He could feel Piccolo's presence within Goku for some reason. Goku then wakes up, also completely healed. He feels fine. And he's acting normal too, but Tien could see some weird marks on his face. Also, something about him just looks a little different. Goku feels like he could hear an annoying voice in his head, almost like it's Piccolo talking to him directly. But he thinks nothing of it. Where did Piccolo go though? Did he seal Piccolo inside of Goku? How does that even work? Somehow Goku's acting as a vessel for his sealing. He asks Goku if he feels anything weird, and Goku says no, he feels fine. Besides hearing King Piccolo talking to him. He's complaining about something saying, "Let me out of here," or whatever. Just annoying Goku, and he can't get the voice away. But he simply tries to focus, and then slaps his face. That shut up the voice. Yajirobe then comes over and takes Goku away. He looked pretty beat up in that fight, but Goku promises that he feels fine. It might just be the adrenaline running through him. It makes no sense that he fully got healed somehow. But Yajirobe could also feel that weird presence in Goku, as if King Piccolo's with him. The rest of the group then comes over to get Tien, and he explains what happened, although he's not really sure what happened at the end there. Yajirobe brings Goku to Korin, and he freaks out, directing him to Kami right away. Physically, Goku looks fine. It's just like he said, he got healed somehow. But something is still very wrong with Goku. Goku's about to go get his power pole to get up there, and he jumps off Korin's tower calling for Nimbus. Nimbus arrives, but when he lands on it, he falls right through, plummeting to the ground below. Right before he hits the ground, Goku notices that he's floating. Weird, it's like he's instinctively flying. Well, that works for him. He gets control of it pretty quickly. He then makes his way up to the lookout, meeting Kami for the first time. And it's just as Kami feared. First off, he starts by saying everyone that died can be brought back, because he will bring the Dragon Balls back. He can make a new set. A new Shenron is made and everyone's revived. But as Kami gets a good look at Goku, he could see exactly what happened. The Mafuba worked. Although he's never seen a living seal, it seems Goku's pure heart is so strong that it allowed Piccolo to be completely sealed within Goku. Goku's pure good holds Piccolo back. Not to mention, his strength and resilience allow him to be a vessel in the first place. Oh, that kinda makes sense. Goku mentioned the fact that he heard Piccolo's voice in his head. And then one of those marks on his face opens. It's a mouth, with Piccolo talking through it. The other one then opens and it's an eye. Piccolo's figured out a way to manifest himself. Although, partially. He could see everything and hear everything, as well as talk to others. Even Kami is perplexed. He's never seen anything like this. That also explains why Goku was healed. It seems Piccolo's essence merging with him just healed him somehow. Also, his access to flight now too. Could it be that he's able to access Piccolo's abilities now? Which is why he was randomly able to fly and why he regenerated. Goku's not really too concerned, and then Piccolo starts yelling at Kami, threatening to kill the boy, saying he'll break out of here and it will kill Goku in the process. But it seems like he can't. All he could do is talk like this. The only reason he could even manifest himself through the seal is because Goku's a living seal. It still does work, but it's not as good as having a regular Mafuba container. Kami definitely needs to keep watch over Goku. So, he begins training Goku. Pretty much the same as normal, but with different context here, because now, he needs to figure out what's going on with Piccolo. Is Goku at risk of Piccolo taking over? Is there a way to suppress Piccolo even more? He wants to get all the answers. As Goku continues training with Kami, he realizes that he has some weird latent abilities too. Also, strange dreams where he sees Piccolo. They can also communicate mentally, but those weird dreams are really the most interesting thing to him. In those dreams, he'll be in some weird cave-like place, and on top of a hill, Piccolo's there, sitting on his throne, basically taunting Goku and telling him he plans to escape, at least at first. Occasionally he appears more and more, but Goku just starts to ignore him. He's pretty nonchalant about all this too, and it seems the seal is working. Kami also notices that sometimes the markings disappear on his face, indicating that Piccolo's not present. Kami did consider using Shenron again when he comes back, but Goku says that won't work. Piccolo actually told him that in a dream. Shenron can't help because getting rid of Piccolo requires Shenron to be stronger than Piccolo, which he isn't. Or Piccolo would have to be willing, which he isn't. They would have wished to move Piccolo out of his body into a new seal, but that's not going to work. As Goku grows under Kami's training, Piccolo kind of does too. He could hear and see everything Goku does, at least if he tunes himself into it. Sometimes he just turns it off because he finds the kid annoying. By the way, if you're liking this story so far, drop a like because it helps the channel and shows me you want to see more stories like this, as well as showing me you want the story to be longer. But maybe this is good. Piccolo starts trying to do mental training. With Goku's body as a vessel, he could exploit all that power that Goku has. He just needs to overcome Goku's heart and mind. He starts to speak less and less. But here and there, he does manifest himself, either to annoy Kami or to annoy Goku. It's not like he's going to give away his plans or anything, he's just there to basically be a nuisance. He really wants to try and take over Goku because even though he might not be able to escape the seal, what if he could figure out a way to commandeer it? And he's not sure how that'll happen, because like Kami said, it's only because of Goku's pure heart that he acts as such a good seal in the first place. Goku's body is the strong vessel, but Goku's pure heart, that's the seal. And every time Piccolo talks, Goku just laughs it off. It's kind of funny that he's just a mouth now. Also, it's funny to watch him try and mess with Kami when really all he's doing is just yelling insults. This leads us to the 23rd World Tournament. Goku's friends are a bit concerned about him. They know he was with Kami, but also, they haven't seen him in a while and hope things are okay. He explains that Piccolo's no problem. Kami said it would take some sort of miracle for Piccolo to get freed. Either that or Goku would have to turn evil somehow, which that's not going to happen. Apparently he's pure of heart or something. Although, it's a shame he can't use Nimbus anymore. Not that it really matters because he can fly now. It looks like he picked up on a lot of Piccolo's abilities. And he's just trying to get control of them for himself. Flight was one of those things, although that was also the easiest one to control because it's not something inherent to Piccolo. He does also have limited regeneration, which he thinks is pretty cool, but he can't really use it on his own, at least not willingly. The first time it happened, it was Piccolo trying to heal himself. And he really wants to unlock this power because this could be pretty potent. But he has no control over that right now. Tien wonders if they could just use a Mafuba to get Piccolo out of Goku. Obviously he couldn't before because he wasn't in the condition to do another Mafuba. But Goku says that won't work. Kami actually tried something similar. He's already sealed and that Mafuba can't extract him. It would just target Goku as a whole. Trust him, he knows. It was painful. Even though he's good, with Piccolo in him, he's got enough evil to be affected by it. It's not precise enough to just target his heart, or specifically Piccolo within that heart. Kami even tried to fuse into Piccolo at one point to reform the Nameless Namekian, but that didn't work, either because it just won't happen or Piccolo wasn't willing. The tournament goes pretty normal otherwise. Kami still is there just to make sure things go okay, but really the only difference is that Piccolo Jr. is not here because he was never born. The final matchup would probably be Goku vs. Tien, and it's a pretty peaceful match. Although strangely enough, amidst the battle, Tien feels like he could hear Piccolo taunting him. It's pretty distracting. And weirdly enough, some of the insults are kind of childish, almost like Goku made them. And then he realizes that Piccolo actually is talking to him, trying to imitate Goku. Oh, yeah, Goku didn't even notice that. He kind of just tunes Piccolo out by now. Even for Tien, a guy with 3 eyes, it's weird to see Goku with an extra eye, and an extra mouth. Goku simply lifts up a finger, charging some ki in it, and shooting it right into Piccolo's mouth. Did he just shoot himself in the face? Well, yeah, kinda. He figured out that's a good way to shut Piccolo up. Weirdly enough, he takes no damage from it. It just redirects it back to Piccolo. Despite this really weird battle, the rest of the tournament is at least fun and normal, somewhat. Although, Tien can't help but worry about Goku, especially with the fact that he was the one to accidentally seal Piccolo in there in the first place. He feels responsible. He does end up losing to Goku, but he's going to push himself even further. He's going to be able to beat Goku one day. Not just for the sake of his own power, but also, in case Piccolo is somehow able to escape, he needs to have that strength to beat Piccolo. And for that, he needs to be stronger than Goku. Following the tournament, Goku still gets married like normal. Thankfully, Chi-Chi overlooks the supposed demon sealed inside of Goku. She still loves him for him, even with that weird thing sealed inside of him. And they live a nice peaceful life alone for a few years, until there's a reunion at Kame House. It's still a shame that he can't fly on Nimbus, but hey, at least he could fly himself now. Thankfully, Chi-Chi could still make use of it. Goku's just bummed out though because Nimbus was kind of like a friend to him. Anyways, he flies himself over to Kame House. Everyone's glad to see him, but also surprised to see that he has a kid now. And there's 2 rounds of shock from this. 1, the shock of Goku having a kid. And then 2, the shock of Goku possessed by Piccolo having a kid. Krillin pulls Goku aside. Is he not concerned about Gohan at all? You know, with the whole Piccolo thing? And Goku shrugs. Gohan seems perfectly normal. Actually, he has a perfectly pure heart too. He's seen Gohan able to ride Nimbus before. Piccolo's been kinda quiet these past few years too. Like he's back in the recesses of Goku's mind. Goku's not really sure what happened. Maybe he gave up on trying to escape. Or maybe Goku's grown so strong that Piccolo can't even manifest himself anymore. Although Piccolo very much is still there. he actually missed out an opportunity to move himself from Goku into Gohan as a reincarnation, although the process behind that would have been really gross too, considering there was probably only one way he could move from Goku to Gohan, and Piccolo would have had to been present throughout the whole process. But at the same time, he does wonder, did he really miss out? He could have had a son possess Gohan, or maybe he does have someone that possesses Gohan and he doesn't realize it. Right now, Gohan seems pure of heart, but it does remain to be seen if this will affect Gohan at all. Is he just Gohan? Or does he have any weird latent abilities like Goku? Is there some of Piccolo within him too? As of now, it doesn't seem like it, and Piccolo's not sure if that ever will happen. That all remains to be seen. One other change at the reunion is that Tien's there too. After dealing with King Piccolo and almost winning a world tournament, he's a lot closer to the group because, first of all, he wants to see if Piccolo tries anything, but also he wants to see Goku again. The two of them are pretty big rivals now. These past few years he's been bettering himself, growing much stronger. Chaozu's here too, although Tien of course is the one that's changed most. And he's happy to see Goku again, especially because he seems normal, he seems like himself, and that kid also seems like Goku too. He's glad things are going well, especially with Piccolo being gone for so long. Goku's face then spawns a mouth on it, with Piccolo taunting through it, telling everyone to shut up. They're annoying him, especially Tien. Him specifically, he's the reason he's sealed within Goku. He starts yelling at him, and then Goku simply lifts up a finger once again, loading his ki into Piccolo. It's been years since he did that. Must be something about Kami or Tien that draws Piccolo out. He must really hate them, but Piccolo promises he'll escape. Although Goku reassures everyone that Piccolo's harmless, he has actually visited Kami over these past few years. They're working on a way to fully expunge Piccolo from him. The issue is the seal is still really strong and Shenron can't remove it. Plus, Piccolo probably did get stronger in the meantime, both through Goku's strength and his own mental strength. They need a way to get rid of him for good, and right now the only way they can think of is Goku dying. But they can't have that happen. And besides, at this point, Goku's basically the strongest person on Earth. Who could even kill him? The only person that can come close is Tien, but why would he do that? But Piccolo senses something approaching them. It's an evil presence, and it makes him happy. It feels powerful too, a worthy opponent. He opens an eye on Goku's face. He wants to see this. The others sense it too, and a man with long hair lands on the island. Just like he expected, he went to the strongest power he could sense and found Kakarot. He sure has changed a lot though, and he looks just like their father. Although, what's with those weird marks on his face? Also, he doesn't have a tail anymore. This is because Kami actually removed it. It would be really bad if Goku turned into a great ape and somehow Piccolo was able to take over. Anyways, he gets right to the point, telling Goku why he's here. Also, revealing the fact that Goku's a Saiyan. Piccolo then starts speaking up again too, telling Goku he should join Raditz. This guy seems cool. He likes Goku's brother. Of course, this kind of freaks Raditz out. But it also makes Raditz really curious because of the power he could sense within Goku. What's going on with his brother? Raditz continues his usual spiel and then decides to take Gohan with him in order to convince Goku to join him. Of course, telling Goku to kill a bunch of people too in the process. Goku tries to fight back, but he can't really do anything against Raditz. So, with no other real choice, he chases after Raditz. He can't ride Nimbus there, so he's gonna have to waste some ki and fly. Weirdly enough, Piccolo then offers help to Goku. Don't waste his ki like that, fight at his full power. He could grow some wings for Goku, just like his sons had. But Goku's just gonna fly normally. He's getting the hang of it now anyways, and he doesn't really want any more help from Piccolo. Although, he didn't realize he could do something like that. Piccolo has a bunch of things that he could use, but he doesn't use that because it would help Goku. And that's why Goku's suspicious. Why is Piccolo offering help? Well, it's because he wants this fight to happen. He thinks Goku's gonna die in it, and he doesn't know how it will affect him. Maybe Goku becoming dead means Piccolo could take over his body. Maybe it won't do anything for Piccolo. He still thinks Goku needs some sort of evil within him. In order to truly take over his body, Goku needs to become evil somehow, even just a little bit, and Piccolo has no clue of how that's gonna happen. Maybe his brother could show him the key, jumpstart his Saiyan memory, if that's a thing. Piccolo has no clue what's gonna happen, but he might as well try something. Goku arrives to fight Raditz, and of course, since he's fighting alone, he stands no chance. Sure, Goku's stronger than his normal self here, but it's not by a considerable amount to make him just win this fight. Plus, the only Piccolo that he's fighting with is King Piccolo, who's doing nothing, he's just watching. He can't really do anything either. And he watches on as Raditz effortlessly beats Goku, then finishing him off with a beam right through Goku's torso, leaving Goku sprawled out on the ground, bleeding out and near death. Gohan's watching nearby, and seeing this, he gets completely enraged, immediately launching in at Raditz and attacking him. And he actually does deal some good damage here, thanks to the boost in power that he gets from his rage. It staggers Raditz and leaves him distracted too, but also leaves Gohan unconscious in the process. Raditz can't believe that kid has that amount of power. Maybe he should take Gohan with him. You know what? He's gonna do that. Kakarot's dead and they'll just use this kid in his place. Goku wakes up in that weird sort of cave that he saw in his dreams. He thought he died. Is this Otherworld? No, he's seen this place before, and a familiar voice calls out to him. His body will be alive for a few more seconds. From the shadows, King Piccolo steps out, telling Goku he can't just die yet. If Goku dies, then he dies. He thought this fight would maybe kill Goku and allow Piccolo to take over, but Piccolo's come to see that that's not the case. Piccolo still can't take control until Goku's fully dead, and when he's fully dead, it'll be a dead body he's in. The only reason Piccolo knows this is because he feels his own power fleeting, as Goku inches closer and closer to death. But he's known for a while now that if he wants to take control, Goku needs to willingly give it over. So he offers Goku something here. He'll heal Goku. He'll bring him back to life. That regeneration he has, Piccolo could use it willingly and just heal Goku. He might be brain dead for a few seconds after the fact, but he'll be fine right after. And Goku can already see what he's getting at. It's gonna let Piccolo have control, isn't it? Well, yeah. He's not sure how long he'll have control for. Maybe only a few moments. Maybe he'll have permanent control over the body. Although he doubts that's possible. But Goku's not too concerned. As grim as it sounds, he's already told his friends that they have every right to kill him if Piccolo eventually takes over someday. He never thought it would actually happen, but if Piccolo permanently takes over him, Kami, Krillin, and Tien have prepared to make sure Piccolo can't do anything. Well, Piccolo's not too surprised. Goku just has one request, and Piccolo says he shouldn't be making requests. Although Goku knows he has the leverage here. He could die and get brought back by the Dragon Balls. Honestly, he contemplates having that happen, because that would kill King Piccolo in the process, and Goku will just come back perfectly fine without Piccolo as part of him. But Piccolo reminds him, if he dies, Kami dies. Meaning no Dragon Balls. Plus, what about his son? Does he not want to help Gohan right now? Even if he could be brought back later on, Raditz is about to take his son. The only way to stop that is if Goku gets back in the battle. Goku completely forgot that. If he dies, which kills Piccolo in the process, that would kill Kami as well. Goku says Piccolo could do it. He could do whatever he wants to Raditz, just leave Gohan alone. Handing over control to Piccolo, who thanks him. This will be a lot of fun. Raditz struggles to walk over to Gohan, taking him aboard his ship. But a voice calls out to him. It's not Kakarot, it's someone else. But when Raditz turns back, he sees Kakarot standing up. That gaping hole in his torso, it's regenerating. Piccolo says he honestly wasn't sure if this would even work. Although thanks to all his years growing stronger in Goku's body, plus the mental training he's done, it looks like he's figured out more potent forms of regeneration. But he could already feel his control slipping. Goku's only going to be unconscious for a few more moments, maybe only a few seconds. So Piccolo will lose control soon. How disappointing. Raditz looks on in complete disbelief. Kakarot not only healed himself somehow, but he looks a little different. His eyes have changed, looking more like King Piccolo's now. And Raditz can't tell if he's imagining things, but that symbol on Kakarot's gi, it changed. That's not the same symbol he had before. Plus, the fact that his clothes are back in general, they got blown off in that attack. How'd he regenerate and grow clothes back in the process too? Piccolo takes a moment to admire his power. He feels great. Healing Goku actually gave him a boost in power. So he asks Raditz about it, and Raditz wonders if he got some sort of Zenkai from that. Saiyans grow stronger after getting close to death. This is great. If they have Kakarot in their ranks, he's going to be a regenerating Saiyan. He could exploit Zenkais. Imagine how potent that'll be. That explains it. Piccolo immediately goes in to fight Raditz. Thanks to the boost in power Goku got, plus the fact that Raditz already got weakened by Gohan, the fight is somewhat even. The first thing Piccolo does is immediately go for the tail. Raditz feels a sharp pain coursing through him. Does Kakarot have claws now? That's what it feels like. Piccolo drives his claws into Raditz's tail. This temporarily paralyzes him. It makes sense that it's a weak spot, but no, he's going to rip it off. Yanking the tail out with one hand and then chopping it off with the other. Raditz screams in pain and falls to the ground. Especially because his tail isn't trained at the moment, it's incredibly painful and leaves him vulnerable. But as he's writhing on the ground, Piccolo picks him up by his hair. He wants to know more about this Saiyan army that they're from. Through gritted teeth, Raditz says he doesn't know what's happened to Kakarot, but Piccolo replies saying he's not Kakarot, or Goku for that matter. He tells Raditz to send them their best Saiyans. If the Saiyans are inherently evil, maybe they could bring out some of Goku's evil and cause Piccolo to take over. Clearly, Raditz was useless for that. But in the worst case, if they can't do that, well, that means Goku's gonna die. And by the next time Goku dies, Piccolo will have a much better plan to escape when he gets a few moments of freedom. Here, he's kinda doing this on a whim. But now that he knows how taking control works, he'll just need a better strategy to fit in that time frame. But he'll also need someone strong enough to kill Goku in the process. He's ran out of use for Raditz though, and he takes great pleasure in the fact that he gets to kill him. With one swoop, he decapitates Raditz, and launches a bunch of lasers from his arm, destroying what's left of him and leaving him in a crater, finishing the fight. It's been so long since he's had freedom, so long since he got to kill someone like that. And he's so much stronger than his previous self. It's not just due to Goku's boost in power, it seems that when Piccolo takes over, Goku gets an extra boost on top of that. Of course, the scouter's been recording everything. This is all related to Vegeta and Nappa. A lot of weird things happen on that planet. When Kakarot started fighting, his power was about 600. Naturally, he lost to Raditz. But then his kid's power boosted exponentially when he attacked Raditz. And then after that, Kakarot healed somehow. They assume this is all attributed to the Zenkai. But when Goku took on that weird transformation, his power kept fluctuating. Immediately after waking up again, he was at around 1200. But it fluctuated between that and 2400. And might have even gone higher than that. Piccolo doesn't have full control over the body, so that's why it kept fluctuating. And part of that was due to the Zenkai. And because Piccolo doesn't have full control, he could feel himself losing his consciousness. He only has a few seconds left. Can he spit up an egg? He tries to, but it doesn't seem like he can. Okay, he has some of his abilities, but clearly not the same reproductive organs. Oh yeah, he forgot about that fact. Gross. Plus, even if he had time to grow the organs capable of doing that and spit up an egg, that would leave him vulnerable as his reincarnation, because his consciousness would go into that egg, and they could just destroy it. He also looks over at Gohan, who's still unconscious. Maybe he could swap into Gohan's body somehow and incarnate within him. Gohan's also pure of heart, but his seal should be weaker due to his weaker body. But he falls to one knee, his control's slipping. It almost feels like he's about to fall asleep, but he chuckles looking at Gohan. He can't wait to see what he's capable of. And then, all 4 of his eyes close. When his regular eyes reopen, they're back to Goku's. He's regained consciousness and fully has control again. He didn't realize Piccolo could decide to heal him, or the fact that he grows that much stronger after getting healed. It would be really useful if he could use Piccolo's abilities for himself without needing his help. He's known about the regeneration part, but has never been able to do it like that. He'll have to work on that further. He also saw everything too, so he knows what Piccolo tried to do and what he actually accomplished. The others eventually arrive, with Krillin and Tien asking Goku what happened, so he explains everything. They can see Raditz nearby, lifeless and mangled, which really supports what happened because that's not how Goku would finish an opponent. That's just gruesome. Krillin and Tien can also tell that Goku's grown a lot stronger, but he also mentions the fact that Piccolo taking over gives him more power too, which really goes to show how strong Piccolo's grown within Goku, although he clearly doesn't have enough control, but it seems he's multiple times stronger than Goku. Of course, the Saiyans are interested in Kakarot now, so they go to Earth, not only because of Kakarot's power, but because of his hybrid Saiyan son. Although imagine how powerful Kakarot could be as part of their ranks. He could exploit Zenkais to no end. Sure, they have healing devices too, but his regeneration is way better. They could tame that power, they could make him the ultimate warrior, and they could make sure he's loyal to them. Even if he does get stronger when that weird side of him takes over, they're strong enough to stop that. Plus, that evil side of him, whatever it is, could be useful. He was conversing with Raditz after all, and it did sound like he wanted to join. They could use that to their advantage, and that way they could overcome his weak-natured side. Of course, everyone on Earth knows the Saiyans are about to arrive, so they do the same training as normal. Chaozu, Yamcha, and Gohan train with Kami. Gohan's there because first of all he shows promise, but also Gohan should be able to defend himself. It seems like he's going to be a target of the Saiyans, but mainly Kami is concerned. What if he somehow is a vessel for Piccolo too? He knows that Piccolo contemplated doing something with Gohan, possibly using him to reincarnate. Is Gohan already compromised? Is he at risk? Is there even a little bit of Piccolo within him? Kami has no clue. The only way to find out is to get to know Gohan better and make sure he can fight. As for Goku, Tien, and Krillin, they go to King Kai. King Kai mainly wanted to see Goku, but the other two come along because it doesn't hurt to have them train as well. Normally King Kai wouldn't do this, but he's doing this because first of all the Saiyans are a threat, and he doesn't know if Frieza will eventually find Goku. But also, Goku might be a threat. If Piccolo ever takes over again, he really wants to figure out how Piccolo works within Goku. Even if he briefly took over and Goku seemed to be in control, that shows that it can happen, and it could be when they don't even expect it. And who knows what's going to happen next time Goku nearly dies. Maybe Goku won't willingly need to hand control over, maybe Piccolo could just take over himself and heal Goku. He could bring Goku as close to death as possible, and then heal himself, leaving Goku temporarily brain dead with Piccolo taking control. King Kai wants to see if he could expunge the evil some other way, but amidst their training, they don't really find anything. At least they grow stronger though. Unfortunately, Goku can't learn the Spirit Bomb. Even with Piccolo's evil being suppressed, the fact that there's evil in his heart at all, it means he can't use it. Which is a shame, but at least he could use Kaioken. But King Kai tells him to be really careful. If he uses Kaioken too much, it could destroy his body to the point where Piccolo would take over. A year passes and the Saiyans arrive on Earth. It's the same crew as normal against the Saiyans, except no Piccolo. The regular Piccolo, not King Piccolo. And Goku's not late. He's actually there in time, with Krillin and Tien as well, since they thought to leave earlier. Nappa plants Cybermen and the whole group takes them on. But Nappa pulls Goku aside. He wants to get that evil in him to come out. No matter what it's going to take, he'll be sure to draw that out. He wants to see Kakarot. Goku begins fighting him, and Nappa pushes further. What made him like this? Is it a split personality or something? Goku says that it's not Kakarot. Kakarot's dead as far as he's concerned. He's just Goku. But Nappa knows that's a lie. They heard everything on the scouter, and those marks on his face. He's clearly not a regular Saiyan anymore. And he can sense that evil within him. It's vague, but it's there. Piccolo then makes a mouth on Goku's face, telling Nappa to shut up. He's getting pretty annoying. This serves to anger Nappa, thinking it's Goku talking, so he starts fighting more seriously, although Goku ends up defeating him pretty easily, pretty much at the same time that all the Cybermen are defeated. With Nappa unconscious and defeated, Vegeta then steps up and kills him. Clearly he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's pretty useless as a warrior. Now it's his chance to see what Kakarot's capable of. He'll draw that evil out of him. He'll make him into the Saiyan warrior that can defeat anyone. Besides him, of course. The fight between Goku and Vegeta begins. Vegeta's definitely stronger, but Goku's base is actually relatively close. Goku's power is about 13,000 right now. Piccolo's hoping that Goku tries to use Kaioken because if he does, that'll give him an opportunity to take over. But from what he could tell, Goku won't need that here, at least not to a huge level. Sure, he'll need ×2 here, but that's not going to stress his body enough, unless he uses it for a really long period of time. Vegeta's also thinking the same thing. He wants to see that other side of Kakarot. Without even realizing it, Piccolo and Vegeta have the same goal here. Goku and Vegeta continue clashing. In order to actually hurt Vegeta, he has to turn on Kaioken ×2. He could go to ×3, but that's pushing it. He doesn't want to take that risk here and let Piccolo get out. But if he goes into that, that'll make the fight way easier. At ×2, he does surpass Vegeta's power. But that's not going to be enough to outright stop Vegeta. Not to mention, he's a little bit concerned about Kaioken ×2, even at that small level. Over the past year of training, he's learned a lot more about himself, and the same applies to Piccolo. When Goku's body is stressed, Piccolo has an opportunity to escape. When Piccolo escapes, he has some sort of a cooldown, it looks like. They've only seen Piccolo escape once, so they don't know how long that lasts. But what they do know is after Goku suppresses him, Piccolo then completely loses control. After the fight with Raditz, when Goku regained control, Piccolo's control in Goku's body became way duller, and it had to slowly return over time. The only reason Goku even knows this is because he and Piccolo kind of share some thoughts. This is thanks to a lot of King Kai's training. For Goku, it wasn't just physical strength. He became more in tune with his body and mind, which lets him experience more of what Piccolo experiences, although that's not really much. And because there's not really much else to look into, he got this info from Piccolo. So that's why Kaioken's a risk. It taxes his body a lot, and if he goes at too high of a level, the stress will dull his consciousness as well as injuring him, which will let Piccolo jump in. Vegeta has no idea where this fight's going, so he wants to try and anger Kakarot. Maybe that'll unleash that other side of him. Then a mouth spawns on Goku's face, taunting Goku and talking directly to Vegeta. This kind of freaks Vegeta out at first, but then he sees that's the other side of Kakarot somehow talking to him. Piccolo tells Vegeta to please kill Goku, and once Goku's dead, they can finally battle. It'll be a great fight. They can go all out. Goku tries to shut him up, but Piccolo keeps talking, telling him ways to exploit Goku's defenses and such. But then he has a great idea. He tells Vegeta, go for the boy. That should really upset Goku. And who knows, maybe it will help him escape. At first, Vegeta doesn't realize what he's talking about, but then he remembers, Goku's son, he's here on the battlefield. That might be the key to cracking him. Vegeta then launches over to Gohan, with Goku trying to chase him, even powering up into Kaioken. Vegeta almost gets to Gohan in time, but then an arm grabs Gohan, and it's not someone else's arm, it's Goku's arm. Another extended arm then comes to punch Vegeta, with Goku retracting his arm, pulling Gohan to safety. The two look equally confused. Huh, he didn't know he could do that. Instinctively to save Gohan, he was able to use Piccolo's power to stretch his arms. That's the first time he's done something like that. A Kikoho then comes in from above, hitting Vegeta and stunning him. Goku looks up to see Tien there and he apologizes for jumping in, but Goku says it's fine. He lost focus there for a bit anyways. While he was briefly confused by his extending arms, Vegeta was about to attack him. You know what? Maybe they should get Gohan out of here. For the time being, he protects Gohan and calls Nimbus, allowing him to leave, while the others try to hold Vegeta back briefly. Tien and Krillin activate Kaioken. They also have it, but it's a little bit more stressful for them, although they only use it at ×2 for them. Yamcha and Chaozu of course try to help however they can. Vegeta can actually fend all of them off at once, even with Tien and Krillin having Kaioken. Obviously they're not trying to defeat him because they know they can't. That's Goku's job. But there is one thing that they could try out. It's a plan they had in mind before. They could only use it once, and if it fails, it screws up everything. Because Vegeta might get desperate right after it, assuming he has a way to use his tail willingly. Because that's what their plan involves, cutting Vegeta's tail off. They know it's at least a weak point for other Saiyans, and at worst, cutting off his tail prevents him from transforming, if he even has a way to do so. It's pretty low risk, high reward, so they decide to try it. Chaozu focuses all of his power with telekinesis. Thankfully, Vegeta's tail is loose right now, not wrapped around him, and he uses it to hold the tail out. With Vegeta confused as to what's happening, his tail's standing up. This just makes it an easy target for Krillin. Tien and Yamcha direct Vegeta's attention towards them, as Krillin quickly activates Kaioken to move across the field, then creates a Kienzan. At the last moment, Tien and Yamcha grab onto Vegeta, holding him still while his tail is held out, letting the Kienzan hit it and cut it off. To their surprise, Vegeta's a little unfazed by it. It's a bit painful, but it's not like Raditz where it completely stunned him. He didn't know they'd go for that. That was a smart strategy, but it only served to piss him off. His anger empowers him and he's ready to kill them. But then he receives an attack by Goku, who thanks everyone for buying him some time. Nimbus arrived and is now taking Gohan back home. At least he got some experience with the Cybermen, but at this point in the battle, it's too risky to have him here. And strangely enough, he feels a little bit better. It's not like he had grave injuries beforehand, but he notices that some of the injuries he got from Vegeta are healed. He could have sworn he had a broken rib or two, but now it's fine. This happened right after he extended his arm. It's strange, it seems like the extended arm ability, it's tied to his regeneration somehow. It took a bit of stamina to heal himself though, but he did that instinctively. So it wore him out a bit, but it's better than fighting with broken ribs. He starts fighting Vegeta alone once more, with Piccolo watching the whole thing, cursing it all. Goku's playing this really smart. First of all, he got rid of Gohan so he wouldn't be a risk. Without him on the battlefield, they can't exploit Goku's anger. Unless Vegeta tries to kill one of his friends or something. But on top of that, Goku's learning to use his abilities. It seems he doesn't have full control over it, but he's starting to use it. That's definitely not a good sign. Especially because if Goku fully uses his powers, Piccolo will have less leverage, and it makes it harder to kill Goku on top of that. Like back in the fight with Raditz, the only reason that happened is because he had leverage. He was able to heal Goku. But if Goku can do that himself, there'll never be that situation again. He needs to think outside the box. He needs to find something else he could do here. But then he tries something that he hasn't tried in a fight before. At least not while part of Goku. Goku's too distracted right now to notice Piccolo's thoughts. Which means maybe he can communicate telepathically. Specifically with Vegeta. So he starts talking to Vegeta directly in his mind, but tells Vegeta to act normal. He introduces himself. He's King Piccolo. He's trapped within Goku. It's a bit of a long story, but he has an offer for Vegeta. If Vegeta helps get him out of here, Piccolo can give him power next. That same regeneration Goku has, Vegeta could utilize it himself. He's trying to encourage Vegeta in this fight, and telling him he can make him stronger than Goku. But Vegeta instantly declines. He's not a fool. Clearly Kakarot can't control Piccolo. And there's definitely something in it for him. There has to be a catch alongside it. Sure, that power might be tempting, but he hasn't lost yet. He has no reason to agree to those terms. Plus, he'd have to win in the first place to even do that. Although, the thought does stick in his mind. Piccolo's trying to side with him for some reason. Really, this is kind of a long game for Piccolo. He has no clue if he'll ever get out. But of course, just like Gohan, he's always wondered if he could transfer himself to someone else. And Vegeta's powerful. He's clearly a great warrior. What if he were to transfer himself to Vegeta? Purely hypothetical. He doesn't even know if it's possible yet. Not that he needs Vegeta's permission. He's just telling Vegeta all of this so he's more inclined to help. The two have much to think about. The battle finally concludes. Goku's the victor. It was definitely not an easy battle for Goku, he's pretty worn out. But without Vegeta being able to transform, and Goku sparingly using Kaioken, he was able to win. And Vegeta can't believe what just happened. He was beaten by a low-class warrior. He also has to remember, Kakarot's no regular Saiyan anymore. This isn't a huge blow to his pride because he really fought two people together. And it makes him wonder, is Kakarot really just a weakling? Is he only this strong because of Piccolo? Probably. I mean, he's a low-class warrior. That's gotta be the case, right? That's more of a reason to try and separate Piccolo from Goku. He wants to fight Kakarot just as himself, to see if he could win like that. That way he'll truly know if he was bested by a low-class warrior, or if it was just because of Piccolo. At first, he and Nappa thought Kakarot was some sort of Super Saiyan, but now that he actually knows what's going on with Goku, that's not the case. And Vegeta simply asks Goku, "What are you?" And Goku explains further. It was kind of a rhetorical question though, because Vegeta already knows. He didn't need the long-winded answer, but it's probably better he pretends. Krillin wonders if this was a good idea to tell Vegeta, but what's Vegeta gonna do anyways? No one's been able to separate Piccolo from him so far, so Vegeta hears the story behind what happened. There's a demon living inside of him. Piccolo never specified that part, he just knew that someone was living inside of Kakarot. And it's weird, he has those types of powers. A magical being with regeneration and extending limbs. He's curious, what did this King Piccolo guy look like? Goku explains that he was a green alien with pointy ears and two antennae. Also weird muscle things on his arms. Wait a second, that sounds like a Namekian, not a demon. The rest of them are confused. Obviously they have no clue of what a Namekian is. But you know what, that makes sense. Goku's apparently an alien, so maybe Piccolo is too. Which would mean Kami is as well. Piccolo's pretty amazed to hear this too. Interesting. That's some pretty valuable info. But what do they do with Vegeta now? Well, Krillin and Tien think they should just kill Vegeta. Goku's against it, and because Goku's against it, Piccolo tries to act against him. With all his might, he tries to take control of Goku. He's infuriated right now. This was his only chance to escape again. And now it's been thwarted. And somehow, through sheer willpower alone, he takes control for a brief second, commandeering Goku's arm, extending it out and grabbing Vegeta by the neck, lifting him up in the air. Goku has no clue of what's happening. Piccolo's never done this before, and Goku asks for someone to stop it. Looking to Krillin, he doesn't want to kill Vegeta. The hand gets tighter around Vegeta's neck, with claws digging into it too. Krillin makes a split-second decision, apologizing to Goku, but he asked for it. With the key ends on, he cuts Goku's arm off, and then immediately gives Goku his Senzu Bean. And Goku thanks him, but he wants to try something first. He doesn't know how Piccolo took control, but it seems their bodies are becoming more like one. It makes sense, he's able to use more of Piccolo's abilities, and Piccolo's able to take control of Goku somehow. But just to practice, this one time, he focuses all his energy into his arm, or what's left of it. And with all his focus, he's able to grow it back. He regenerates it. That confirms his theory, and it's also a little bit scary. Sure, it's great that he can control Piccolo's powers on his own, to some extent at least. But maybe Piccolo will find a way to escape again. He takes the Senzu anyways because that took a lot of stamina out of him. He just wanted to test if he could regenerate. It's a good thing to know, and now that he's back at full health from the Senzu, his senses aren't dulled at all, which means Piccolo can't take control. Obviously Vegeta's just left speechless. He can't believe what he just saw. Although, he wants to try a new approach. It's like Raditz said, Kakarot is a regenerating Saiyan. And he asked Kakarot, after he regenerated, did he feel any stronger? And Goku says he felt his power rise a bit. Not a huge amount. And this was before he took the Senzu Bean. And Vegeta tells him that's his body adapting. It's just like he thought. Kakarot can regenerate, and get boost in power from it too. It's a bit counterintuitive since it takes his stamina. And of course it only applies to damage inflicted on him. When his arm was cut off, that was from Krillin. So that's why it worked. But Vegeta says he wants to help out. They can exploit that and Kakarot can grow far stronger than he could ever imagine. But Goku doesn't really care about that. He doesn't want to cheat his way to the top. It is good to know at least. But Vegeta then makes an offer. If Kakarot can use that power to defeat Frieza, Vegeta will lead them to Namek. If they go to Namek, maybe they'll find a way to separate Piccolo from Goku. But then King Kai intervenes. No need. He could help them find Namek. There goes Vegeta's bargaining chip. Goku says it's fine anyways. Vegeta's an interesting opponent and they're not going to kill him. He thinks that's why Vegeta's bargaining, but there's another reason for the sudden change in mind. Tien and Krillin wonder if they should keep Vegeta alive. They thought he'd run, but he seems serious, like he actually wants to help here. Is he scared of Piccolo for some reason? Does he want to settle a grudge solely with Goku without Piccolo's influence? And that's partially the reason. First of all, he wants to fight Goku as Goku. Second of all, yes, he's sort of terrified of Piccolo. A Saiyan with Namekian powers, or the inverse. That can be terrifying. But the main reason he wants to help out here is because he wants to unleash Piccolo. Sure, fighting Kakarot as Kakarot will be fun, but what if he were to actually unleash Piccolo? Piccolo's speaking to Vegeta mentally again. He was actually trying to bargain with Vegeta. Vegeta's a prince, and Piccolo wants to take over that empire, whatever it is. And imagine what they could do if they worked together. But Vegeta told Piccolo that there is no empire left. They work under Frieza. Well, even better. That means Vegeta doesn't have to give up anything. Piccolo will help defeat whoever this Frieza guy is, and then take over his empire. That's all he asks in return. Unless Vegeta can unleash him somehow, which would be even better. He just wants to be himself again. And once the two started talking about this, they started bargaining further. Besides Vegeta's morbid curiosity and slight fear, he mainly wants to help unleash Piccolo because it could help kill Frieza. So Vegeta brings up the idea of Namek again. Okay, if they could find their way to Namek, maybe they should do that. He makes a huge assumption and says they should be able to help. He doesn't realize they're talking with King Kai, but King Kai says that's actually a great idea. He doesn't know for sure. But Namekians are known for their weird magic abilities, plus the fact that Piccolo's a Namekian. Maybe they've seen something like this before. Maybe they could help out. And Vegeta's glad this is working. They're buying into it. Vegeta has no clue of what else to do right now. But maybe this could work in his favor. Although there's one thing he doesn't realize. Nearby is Nappa's scouter. It fell off in his fight with Goku, and it's listening into everything. Frieza hears all of this too. Vegeta's going to Namek? Why's that? You know what? Probably not too big of a concern right now. Frieza doesn't hear for the Dragon Balls at all. But maybe he'll have to make an appearance on Namek, just to stop Vegeta. It looks like he's planning something against Frieza's interests. Bulma begins building a ship to Namek. Thankfully it's not time sensitive, so she and her father work on a really fast ship. They can make the best ship possible since they have the time. The crew so far is Goku, Vegeta, Krillin, and Tien. Gohan's actually going to stay back, he has no need to go. The group's keeping a close watch on Vegeta because they don't know what he's going to do. So obviously they're going to take him to Namek with them. They can't just leave him here, and it's better to keep their enemies close. Vegeta's still really upset that it's come to this, but he hopes that he can at least free Piccolo. That'll make it all worth it. Plus, this will help him grow stronger. Obviously he got a boost in power after his last battle. And in the meantime he could actually spar with Kakarot. He has nothing else to do, and Goku of course is up for this. Vegeta's acting weirdly chill with everyone, despite the fact that he was trying to murder them before, and he killed Nappa. That only serves to make everyone more suspicious because they expect him to be more rowdy. He's still an ass to everyone like normal, but he doesn't work directly against them. At least not overtly. He wants to see everyone's full strength after all, and grow stronger himself. He'll see how strong Kakarot truly is, then they'll have a real battle. Plus, he'll see how strong Piccolo is. His main motive is his hunger for battle. He's not really helping them at all, he just hangs around the group. It's not like he could do anything anyways. Goku does find Vegeta's power interesting, but he's still cautious. And in those times where they do spar, it gets a little bit serious, but Goku wins each time. And Vegeta observes closely. Goku's using that regeneration more and more. First, it's for smaller things, like cuts and bruises. That's what he could heal willingly. But then he's able to heal broken bones. Weirdly enough, he can't regrow his tail. But he's getting a lot better at controlling this power, which Piccolo sees as an issue. Plus, they obviously see Vegeta has an ulterior motive because he's acting like this. They're not stupid. He changed his tune really quickly after losing. Kami especially is really unsure about everything. Why keep Vegeta alive? Honestly, Goku would have done that regardless. Like, he did that normally. They have even more reason to do so here. But is going to Namek really the right thing? Kami doesn't even know what to expect there. He has no clue of what it's like. Even though they've heard from King Kai that it's a peaceful place, they should go prepared. They don't know what to expect. Tien especially leaves prepared. Obviously they get some senzus, but Tien also packs a container and a seal with him, just in case. He has been practicing the Mafuba more and more. It takes less out of him now. And activating it is a lot quicker for him. The group heads out for Namek. They don't have much to do on the trip, it's not like they have to prepare for anything, but Bulma and her father did create a gravity chamber. Vegeta mentioned the gravity here on Earth is very weak, and Goku, Tien, and Krillin of course remember how King Kai's planet was. The 10 times gravity was really helpful, so maybe having some sort of chamber where they could change gravity, that's going to be really nice for them. And everyone on the ship can use it. All 4 of them are used to 10 times gravity. But they could start working at higher levels. Again, they're not really training for anything specific, but it's just to pass the time. They don't have anything else to do while they're flying in space. But thankfully the ship's fast and they don't need to torture themselves training. Not like Goku's training on the way to Namek in the original story, this is just regular training for them. At least for everyone besides Vegeta. He takes it really seriously, pushing himself to his limits to grow as much as possible. But they're not going to give him senzus if he hurts himself. They're limited and they need to save them. Plus there's no healing pods, which Vegeta's used to, so he has to kinda dial it back. Tien and Krillin are especially cautious, which is why they're saving the senzu beans. Again, they don't know if they're going to need them in the future. If things go bad on Namek, it's better to have them. The group arrives on the planet and it is pretty peaceful like they expected. They find a village pretty quickly and they learn about the Dragon Balls. They just tell Vegeta to keep quiet because he's going to make a bad impression. And it works because Goku, Tien, and Krillin do make a good impression on the villagers. Although a lot of the people could sense that weirdness within Goku. He's clearly a good person and his ki just feels good. But there's also that weird evilness within him. But he doesn't hide anything either, he's just straight up with them. So whenever someone gets curious about it, he just explains, yeah, they sealed away an evil Namekian inside of him. He's still not too sure about how it happened, but he was hoping that maybe someone here could help him. Which is why they end up learning about the Dragon Balls here. That's not even the reason they were here in the first place. But it's good to know that there's another set here, which also makes Vegeta curious. But the group doesn't hunt for the Dragon Balls because they don't need them. Shenron couldn't do anything and they don't know if Porunga would be able to either. They need some sort of expert to help, so they find the perfect person, Guru. But before they go there, two people intercept them. Zarbon and Dodoria arrive on the planet. Only these two win, because Frieza thought they'd be enough. They only came for Vegeta and to figure out what's going on here. Thankfully none of the group got Dragon Balls, so Frieza doesn't hear about them. Zarbon and Dodoria are just here to bring Vegeta back. Vegeta wonders why they're here in the first place, but it makes sense, they were probably spying on him. And he asks if it's just them here. Well, yeah, they're going to be enough to stop any threat and just bring Vegeta back to the Frieza Force. He'll face his true punishment there. That's good. No one else from Frieza's army is here. Just these two. Zarbon and Dodoria also see Goku, realizing that there's another Saiyan alive. It looks like Nappa didn't make it back. Same for Raditz. It's starting to make sense. It looks like Vegeta's trying to recruit the Saiyan, and maybe he's trying to do something against Frieza. Why else would he recruit another Saiyan and then go to a random planet for some reason? He's planning something, and it's definitely something they need to stop. Vegeta then goes to attack Zarbon. Dodoria then glares over at the group, and Goku decides he's going to fight him. This is going to be a perfect test of his power. And the two individual fights are very brief. Zarbon transforms, which lets him live a little bit longer, but in the end, Goku and Vegeta win their respective fights, and Zarbon and Dodoria die, with Vegeta killing Dodoria after Goku defeats him. If any more of Frieza's underlings come at them, they need to kill them. It's too risky. The four of them eventually find their way to Guru. They ask around at other villages and tell the villagers. They learn everything about King Piccolo. They're actually pretty inclined to help, and because of this, they make their way to Guru. Vegeta urges everyone to be quick because Frieza clearly knows they're here. They don't want to run into him unprepared. And as much as Goku is curious about fighting him, it probably is a good idea to leave as soon as possible. Mainly because the Namekians have been so helpful and they don't want Namek involved in Frieza's thing. When they first meet Guru, they're in awe. He heard that they're here not for the Dragon Balls, but actually for him. Usually whenever someone seeks the Dragon Balls, they come to him for that Dragon Ball that he has. But it's nice to have a visitor that wants to actually see him. And they don't need to tell him anything. He already knows what's going on. He could sense all of it, and read their minds just by touching their head. He actually does know of the Namekian who left long ago. Hundreds of years ago, there was a disaster on Namek. Guru was the only one who lived. But there was one Namekian who managed to escape the planet. The son of another Namekian. The nameless Namekian who escaped was the one who eventually split into Kami and King Piccolo. Good and evil counterparts. And Guru feels the evil presence within Goku, and thanks him for the additional info. He knew nothing about the nameless Namekian after he left, but he puts the pieces together now. Although, he does find this strange, he's never seen something like this. A sealing technique that sealed someone inside another person. He thinks to himself that it does make sense. A pure heart can be that powerful. It's quite a potent thing, and quite a rare thing, frankly. A truly pure heart with no evil intentions at all. Goku has no bad thoughts in his mind. It's fascinating to him. Unfortunately, since he's never seen this before, he doesn't know what to do about it. Although, he does have one idea. While he hasn't seen this before, he's pretty knowledgeable otherwise. He thinks that if he could awaken Goku's potential, it could help him suppress Piccolo further. This wouldn't affect Piccolo. It will only alter Goku's spirit. With his physical training that helped Piccolo. Piccolo learned everything that Goku did, and he could do mental training to grow even further. But this way with a shortcut, it will only affect Goku. The only way Piccolo would get a boost is if he takes over Goku and uses him as a vessel, because his physical body will grow stronger. At least that's what Guru theorizes. Over time, it should suppress and eventually expel Piccolo from Goku. By strengthening Goku's spirit, hypothetically, the goodness within him should overcome the evilness within Piccolo, and get rid of him for good. Goku's not too sure because Guru thinks it's risky too. Plus, Goku doesn't like the idea of being gifted power, and Guru says he'll only unlock what's necessary, especially because they don't know if it'll work. It's probably better to be conservative with this, because if things go wrong, then they're going to create a really powerful Piccolo. Plus, he introduces some of his own magic, trying to exorcise the evil within Goku, cleansing it into good. It isn't much, but in combination with Goku's power, he could expunge Piccolo. As long as Goku's careful and Piccolo doesn't get unleashed in the near future, he'll be gone soon. Guru thinks this will accomplish one of two things. Either Piccolo gets completely erased, or his spirit gets so overwhelmed that it just merges into Goku's, essentially forcing a fusion between the two of them, sort of like Namekian fusion. If the latter happens, Kami might actually be fine, but if the former happens, they're not sure what's going to happen to Kami. Maybe Kami's already life-linked to Goku. Maybe he'll die from that. They can't know for sure. They don't even know what the result of this will be either. So there's also that to keep in mind, but they go for this anyways. It's at least worth a shot. They always knew that Kami dying would mean Piccolo would die, which would hypothetically fix Goku, but obviously they don't want to just resort to that, and hopefully that doesn't happen here. Vegeta urges them to leave. They should hurry. He's pretty antsy, and as much as he wants to get those Dragon Balls for himself, he doesn't care. He knows he won't have time. This was underwhelming for Vegeta, but at least he got to train as well as kill Zarbon and Dodoria. They thank Guru for his help. Tien asks how Goku feels, and he feels fine. The eye slits on his face that usually represent Piccolo, they're completely gone. He can't even feel Piccolo's presence anymore. He's not sure, but it might actually be working. The trip back to Earth seems peaceful at first, but halfway through their trip, they sense a strong power out in space. A ship then hacks into their communications, and obviously no one here knows what to do about that. A voice then begins talking through it, and Vegeta immediately recognizes it. It's Frieza. Frieza himself is chasing down the ship, and he tells them to land nearby, or they'll just blow up the ship. He doubts any of them can survive in space. They land on a small planet nearby. This one at least seems to have an atmosphere, which is a good sign. But the planet is also barren, and it looks like they're going to have to do this alone. Goku immediately turns the ship into a capsule and hides it, just in case. Frieza's ship then lands and he steps off, greeting everyone, glad to see Vegeta once more. He didn't bring an army with him, it's just him and a few random soldiers. They just want to bring Vegeta back, and they'll leave everyone else. Well, they'll also bring that Saiyan with them too, because they did lose 2 Saiyan soldiers, so they need a replacement. He turns to the other 2. If those 2 Baldies give up the Saiyans, he'll kindly let them live. They don't really say anything, but Krillin wonders why he's calling them Baldies. He's bald too. Goku's not going anywhere, and he wants to actually fight Frieza. Vegeta calls him a fool for it. There's no way he could fight Frieza, but he also won't just accept this, so it looks like they don't really have a choice. Looks like they're just gonna die here. And Frieza wonders if the Saiyan knows what he's messing with. Goku knows and doesn't care. Besides, he's way stronger than before. That boost in power might help him in this battle. Piccolo's barely hanging on, but he can see some glimpses of what's happening. Is this how it ends for him? He'll actually be expelled from Goku completely, or the 2 of them will just die together. And he won't be able to revive Goku. This guy's gonna kill Goku, and make sure nothing is left to regenerate from. But that's Frieza, his newest foe. He'll never get to defeat him. Goku and Frieza start fighting. And Goku is actually pretty powerful here. Frieza's then forced into his second and third form, eventually his final form. And this is where he starts having way less trouble. How is a Saiyan so strong? It doesn't matter now because Frieza's above him at least. But the fact that he contended with his other forms, he's never seen a Saiyan with that much power. Could he be a Super Saiyan? Goku tells Frieza they don't need to fight anymore. He doesn't have to kill Frieza, he just wants to leave. And Frieza takes this as mockery, even though it was genuine. This monkey thinks he could kill him. But the fight's not over. Frieza hasn't even shown his full strength. This only serves to piss him off. He starts wailing on Goku, and Goku can't really do anything against it. And you know what? If the Saiyan wants to mock him, he'll return the favor. He's gonna take his anger out on his Earthling friends over there. Those 2 should have just left Goku stranded here. But no, they had to stay back. They had to play the hero. They couldn't just give up their friend and leave. He fights Goku off with one hand and one leg. And with his other hand, he lifts the other 3 in the air telekinetically, slamming them into the ground. Which one should he kill first? Let's start with the short one. He lifts the unconscious Krillin up into the air, and tells Goku to watch closely, as he squeezes his hand, and Krillin then explodes. Next he'll go for the 3-eyed one. Next he'll go for the 3-eyed one. Then Vegeta, then Goku. He just wants to make sure Goku watches all of his friends die first. And of course Goku's mortified watching this, and he's being beat up at the same time. Even with Kaioken at his max, it's hard to completely fend off Frieza. But he just watched Krillin die. Inside of Goku, Piccolo suddenly feels more awake than he was before. His senses aren't dulled, he feels like he's back to normal. He doesn't know why, but he actually feels empowered. There's an evil surging within Goku, and he can feel Goku powering up. He's never felt anything like this before, and then he sees what happened on the outside. But then Piccolo kind of loses control of himself too. On the outside, Goku starts transforming. His hair begins flickering into a golden color, with an aura forming around him, and inside of Goku, Piccolo could feel himself being freed. He feels amazing. This is euphoric. He's never felt like this. Goku powers up, turning into his Super Saiyan for the first time, but this is different. He grabs onto his head. He feels a weird pain. He's losing control of himself in 2 senses, in the sense that he's never gone Super Saiyan before and his anger is taking over, but also, Piccolo's taking over. His aura explodes, and even Frieza's taken aback. And briefly he sees Goku standing there with golden hair and a golden aura, but that aura then shifts into a dark purplish one. And Goku's hair stays standing up, but then it looks like it reverts back to its regular color. Vegeta doesn't even know what to say, and Tien watches on mortified. Vegeta's kinda happy because it looks like he might have become a Super Saiyan, but Tien is terrified to his core because Goku not only just powered up, but Piccolo gained control too. The power is unlike anything they've ever felt. It's even higher than Frieza's. Goku's body hangs limply, but then he lifts himself up, stretching out and cracking his neck. He looks unrecognizable. The 4 eyes on his face are open again. His hair is standing up, and he has weird markings on his body, kind of like how Piccolo did. His 4 eyes look around confused, but then they widen, and an evil grin stretches across his face. He shouts, with the shout shaking the entire planet. Even Frieza covers his ears, and he starts laughing maniacally. He's never felt so much bliss before, and he thanks Frieza. He would have been dead if it weren't for him, but it seems Goku's transformed, and whatever this form is, it introduced some sort of evil into Goku's heart, just enough for Piccolo to fully take control, and not just that, overcome whatever Guru did to him. Not only is he back again, but he's better than ever. He has complete control, not to mention all the power that Goku just got, not only from having his potential unlocked, but becoming a Super Saiyan. Frieza's confused and even a bit scared. Since when do Saiyans have another form like this? The other two are confused as well. Tien has to push aside his feelings of Krillin's death. He can't let it distract him. They might even be able to revive him with Namex Dragon Balls, but he can't focus on that right now. He needs to find a way to stop this. But Goku, or rather Piccolo, turns over to him, with that same evil smile. He tells Tien to wait patiently. First he's going to have some fun fighting Frieza, and then he'll decide what to do with Tien. He was the one who caused this in the first place. Not like he can go anywhere anyways. He pulls out the capsule with the ship on it, stored in Goku's pocket. He also thanks Vegeta for his help. The two of them can watch for now. He'll decide their fates later. This isn't Goku or Piccolo anymore. This is Goku Daimao. Piccolo walks over to Frieza, who hits him with a few death beams, but he simply brushes them off. They don't even damage him. Even if they did, he could just regenerate from that. He has a feeling that his regeneration has grown stronger as well, although he assumes he doesn't need to use it in this battle anyways. Frieza will be a great warm-up for him. It's been so long since he last got to fight. It was only against Raditz, and even there, he didn't really have full control. Here, he has complete control. And he asks Frieza, before he kills him, is that all the power he has? This makes Frieza furious, and he launches a flurry of ki blasts at Piccolo. But they don't do much. At first, Frieza thought he was mocking him. But really, Piccolo's serious. He wants to see Frieza's full power. He'll even wait for him to power up if he needs to. So Frieza starts charging up energy, going into his 100%. And while he's getting ready, Vegeta and Tien are trying to decide what to do. Obviously, they're not even really on the same side either. Vegeta can't even really tell what's going on. He assumed Kakarot became a Super Saiyan. That golden hair form that he briefly had, that must have been Super Saiyan. But then King Kai starts directly speaking to both of them. He's absolutely terrified because he thinks exactly what Vegeta's thinking. He's not exactly sure of what happened, but somehow that form must have freed Piccolo. Maybe there's some sort of innate evil within it. This is actually in the series, by the way. Goku has told Krillin before that he can't use the Spirit Bomb while in Super Saiyan because of this. King Kai tells Tien he needs to stop this immediately. He only really has one option here and knows what to do, but he can't be hasty because he knows Piccolo's going to expect it. He can't perform a Mafuba, and he brought a container without Goku knowing because of this. Obviously, if Goku knew, then Piccolo would know. Frieza's fully powered up and starts fighting with Piccolo. But he can't seem to do anything. This makes no sense. His power is 120 million. He should be way above this Saiyan. Out of curiosity, Vegeta goes to one of the soldiers nearby and grabs their scouters. I didn't mention this before, but those soldiers that came with Frieza, they're probably dead by now. I think Vegeta would have fought them or something. Anyways, he grabs one of the scouters, because even though he could sense ki, he can't do it too well and wants to quantify the strength here. He turns completely pale. Piccolo's power is around 250 million, and it's seemingly rising. As Goku was before, even with Kaioken, he can't really contend with the final form Frieza. That is, unless he went all out with Kaioken, which would have been risky. Using Kaioken at its max would have actually really helped. But he wasn't entirely sure and also knew the risk of Piccolo escaping, especially with how worn out he already was. He didn't get a massive boost in power after the Saiyan saga, and never got one from the Ginyu Force either, but Guru did slightly unlock his potential, and on top of that he had Super Saiyan. And now on top of that, he has Piccolo's boost in power, the same one that happened when he took over against Raditz. Plus, Piccolo was sure to heal the body he was in. Goku definitely faced some severe physical trauma, so this gives a nice boost on top of that too. And Piccolo feels completely euphoric. He's free and so much stronger than he ever could have imagined. He's enjoying his battle with Frieza a little too much. Really, he should just leave right now and find a way to separate himself from Goku. But he's too caught up in the moment. Although thankfully the fight doesn't last too long. He gigantifies one of his hands, grabbing Frieza and crushing him in it. He lifts Frieza up into the air, breaking all of his bones and then letting him fall from the sky. And as he falls down, he opens his mouth, launching a mouth blast. Frieza's somehow still intact after that. He completely destroys Frieza, but then after the fact he realizes maybe it would have been better to take over Frieza's body. But he doesn't care about that. He has complete control over Goku right now, and all he needs to do is escape. He'd rather do that and use his own body. Sure, being a vessel can give him some great power, but he won't really be him. He only considered swapping bodies as a last resort, if he somehow couldn't escape, since he doesn't know if that'll lock him away again. Everyone's still a little bit confused on how all of this works, especially Piccolo. There's too many hypotheticals involved. But now he has the chance to escape, so he's going to try that. Maybe his bloodlust got the best of him there though. So if he can't actually escape, next time he fights a strong opponent, he is 100% stealing their body. It's at least better to confirm first. Piccolo then takes Goku's capsule, throwing it down and making Bulma's ship again. He's going back to Earth, and tells Tien good luck. But as he turns to Tien's direction, he sees him performing a Mafuba. And he lets it happen, because the second it hits him, he's able to counter it, directing it at Vegeta instead, sealing him away in the container. What, after all that time did he think the Mafuba would work again on him? He's kind of funny, so he'll be gracious here. He'll leave Tien alive, and he'll leave Frieza's ship intact as well. Not like Tien will be able to figure out how to fly it. He mockingly tells Tien he'll see him back on Earth, if he makes it there in time. Boarding Bulma's ship and returning, Tien opens the container freeing Vegeta, who is understandably furious. Also a bit confused, but Tien explains what happened. So they can't even seal Piccolo anymore. Thankfully, Vegeta actually does know how to fly Frieza's ship. He's worked with similar ones before. And Tien asks if he could bring them back to Namek. They have Dragon Balls there, and by using them, maybe they could figure out something here. But Tien has a tough choice. He can use a wish to beat Piccolo back to Earth, or stop him some other way. But also, he might be able to use a wish to bring Krillin back. He doesn't realize that Namek's Dragon Balls give him 3 wishes, so he has to think on this on the way there. Thankfully, he was the one to carry the Senzu Beans, so he and Vegeta fully heal. They're halfway between Namek and Earth right now, so Piccolo should get there before them, but Vegeta says this is one of the best ships Frieza has. Hypothetically, they should get to Namek before Piccolo gets to Earth. Not by long, though. Eventually, they do make it back to Namek, and Tien profusely apologizes for asking for their help again, but the Namekians are actually inclined to help. With the threat of King Piccolo, especially with him being Namekian, who knows if he's going to come here and use their power somehow. It's probably best for them to help out here. Of course, they would want to stop an evil Namekian. It reflects pretty badly on them, and it could come back to bite them as well. They go to Guru again, and Guru is glad to help. First, he offers to unlock Tien's potential. He even offers the same for Vegeta, but Vegeta declines. It's useless. Tien doesn't like the idea of being handed power either, but he's going to do anything he can to stop Piccolo here. More importantly, they start gathering Dragon Balls, and Tien actually learns that Porunga has 3 wishes, which is great because he doesn't need to decide. He could bring back Krillin, try and use a wish to affect Goku, and then use another wish to bring them all back to Earth. Even though Krillin will be brought back on that other planet, he could phrase it in a way that brings them all back. So they get the Dragon Balls and they summon Porunga, and Tien thought pretty carefully about this. First, revive Krillin. Second, he asked Porunga to empower Goku's pure heart. Porunga can't affect people that are stronger than him if they're not willing, so he can't do a wish that affects Piccolo, but he can do a wish that affects Goku. Goku's suppressed right now, but still alive. Essentially what Porunga does here is what Guru was trying to do with Goku, and the wish is granted. He's helped boost Goku a bit. Porunga says there's only so much he could do, but he hopes it'll help them. As for the last wish, he asked if Porunga could teleport all of Goku's allies back to Earth, specifically to Capsule Corp. A simple wish, and he grants it. As they start getting teleported, Tien waves goodbye to all of them, thanking them once more for their help. And they hope he's victorious here. Thankfully, the wish does include Vegeta too. He's considered an ally at this point. Tien honestly wasn't sure if that would work, which kind of pisses Vegeta off. What, was he going to leave him stranded there on Namek? Well, he was thinking if Vegeta was stranded there, he could just take the ship back. Vegeta really doesn't like this guy right now. And it also does work on Krillin too, with Tien and Krillin reuniting, because he's really happy he was able to bring Krillin back. He hasn't been gone for long, but still. But now they wonder if that other wish helped. Piccolo hasn't gone to Earth yet. He's a few hours away though. They don't know what to expect when he gets here. Will Piccolo step off the ship, or will Goku? Piccolo's close to Earth. Of course, he's pretty happy about it too. He thinks he's finally won here. But weirdly enough, he feels something change within him. That same heart purity from before. It was suppressed. Within that same internal world where Piccolo encountered Goku before, it happens again. Piccolo's unconscious, and he's facing down Goku. Goku's not really too sure what happened. He felt like he lost complete control. But now the two of them have equal control. And he's glad. It looks like Tien figured something out. Piccolo could see that Goku's in that Super Saiyan form, and Goku's a bit confused by it too because he didn't even feel like transforming into it. Weirdly enough, in here it feels a lot different. Like, he has no evil intentions within him. He still doesn't know what happened to him, but his Super Saiyan form did change a bit. Porunga's wish did help him, but how? He doesn't know just yet. Looks like they have to fight for control. Whoever wins gets to take over the vessel again. Obviously for Goku, this isn't a vessel for him. That's his body, and he's gonna get it back. Piccolo then transforms himself, turning into Goku Daimao once more. He feels weaker in here though. It must be because of Goku's power being separated from him. This is like image training with himself, but more real. This is fun. It's like their spirits are actually dueling. It's so weird for Goku too. This form is what caused Piccolo to take over, but now, he could tell it's different. Like, it's been cleansed in a way. This form that supposedly had some innate evil within it. This legend amongst Saiyans. He'll use that to defeat Piccolo, not embolden him. As they fight in here, Goku is just Goku. He can't use any of Piccolo's powers, just his regular abilities. Piccolo only physically looks like Goku Daimao, but he doesn't have Goku's power boost. But his unique abilities really help, like his magic and regeneration. And this isn't just a physical battle, it's a spiritual one, a mental one as well. Piccolo is confident at first, but Goku really gets the upper hand. And this battle rages on for the rest of the flight towards Earth. Soon, the ship does arrive on Earth. Tien's ready to do another Mafuba. Even if Piccolo can't counter it, everyone else is here ready to fight Goku in case he is still Piccolo. But as the door for the ship opens, Goku steps off, looking normal. He looks just fine. Well, his clothes are torn to pieces, but he doesn't even have the weird markings on his face. And he's pretty happy to see everyone here, especially Krillin, thanking them for their help. He won against Piccolo, but Piccolo is still in there, just suppressed once more. But he really wants to figure out what happened to him, and how to utilize that Super Saiyan form. Some time passes. There is no time traveler, and of course over this time period everyone is training. The reason is, they're training to actually beat Goku, in case Piccolo ever takes over again. Tien is really serious about this, and Vegeta obviously is too. And after seeing Piccolo's full power, yeah, he doesn't really want to free him again, but he does want to fight Kakarot, so he'll need to better himself regardless. Krillin wants to improve himself too. He needs to save his best friend if the time ever comes. At some point Goku's affected by the heart virus, but he barely feels it. Like, he never even notices it happens. His heart deteriorates from it, but then regenerates due to his innate power. Instinctively, the diseased portions of his body get healed over. He feels some weird internal aching and thinks it's just some sort of regular physical thing, unknowingly curing himself from a virus. And not too long after this, the androids attack a city. With no time traveler, we're technically in that original timeline where Trunks is from. So, the androids are weaker and more evil. They're actually going around destroying the city and killing people. Obviously, they've been looking for Goku. So, it's good that he's here. That makes their job a lot easier. Unfortunately for Gero, there's some data he's been missing. First, Vegeta shows off his own new form, Super Saiyan. Tien and Krillin then power up into Kaioken. And as for Goku, well, he turns Super Saiyan. Every time he does this, it concerns him, but by now he thinks he has control. He realized what Porunga did to him. Porunga's wish from Tien was to empower Goku, boost his pure heart once more, and he found the perfect way to do that. Piccolo was freed by Goku going Super Saiyan, so he just needed to cleanse the Super Saiyan form. And that's why Piccolo lost control. He was controlling a body that didn't have an ounce of evil within it. So technically, Goku has his own new form of Super Saiyan, a calmer version of it. This is pure Super Saiyan. Physically, it doesn't look different at all, but this form is completely Goku's. He hasn't mastered it yet with Grade 4, but this is a pure good form. Porunga took this form and made it Goku's own. That way he regained control and he could actually use this power. That was a nice side effect from it. Unfortunately, this means he gives up Kaioken. It is weaker, it tears apart his body, and it has the potential to free Piccolo. This form is stronger, and while not perfect yet, it's safe to use. Plus, he's even been training Gohan a bit too. Not a ton because he still has to study, but he wants to see if Gohan can use Super Saiyan. At the very least, he knows Vegeta can. He did help with that. They begin fighting the androids. Goku is a lot more careful in the scenario than he is normally. Usually, he'd like to fight alone, but he fights as a team here because he knows fighting alone is a risk. It could stress his body more and lead him to dying sooner, which would let Piccolo take over. As much as he would love to fight alone, he doesn't here because of that. Vegeta, on the other hand, does want to fight alone, but nobody lets him. And they don't decide to kill the androids right away. I feel like Goku would at least give them a chance to give up. But again, these are the original androids. They're far more cruel than the regular ones that we know. They don't give up here. They just want to kill Goku, and have fun by killing others. Krillin has a good strategy here, and Goku actually follows it because he wants to be careful. Together, they all jump one android, attacking Android 17 in unison. Vegeta doesn't go for this. He instead fights 18 alone. With a combined power of pure Super Saiyan Goku, and Tien and Krillin using Kaioken, they defeat Android 17. Just barely. They overpower him, and it's also thanks to their great teamwork together. And Vegeta fighting 18 actually does kind of help here. He can't really do much against her alone, but still. This prevents her from joining in the battle with Android 17. So, then she's defeated. Things go a lot more smoothly here. It seems Gero didn't have the data on Piccolo, or on Super Saiyan. Just like usual, he stopped spying at the absolute worst time, especially because they kept training after the fact. But remember, Piccolo isn't gone. He's suppressed, but he's still there. He probably should have hopped bodies when he had the chance. But now he knows. Next time he gets freed, he's gonna steal someone else's body. Goku can suppress him way too well. And especially now he's going to be careful. So Piccolo makes a promise with himself. The next time he gains control, even if it feels like it's permanent, he's taking over someone else. And he has a few options in mind. Piccolo spends some time thinking to himself. He could just try and use Gohan as a vessel at some point. He's always thought of doing that, but he needs to actually escape first. Gohan does have a pure heart, so he would work just like Goku. But Gohan wouldn't have the control of Goku. It would be like using a similar body, essentially. The reason he's even thinking of this is because he knows with Goku, even though the pure heart seals him, he knows he can manifest himself in this body to some extent, and that it can handle his presence. Gohan should be able to handle his presence without dying. And all he'll have to do is go into Gohan's body, and then manifest there. And he'll be completely free. It'll be perfect. The next time he's freed, he's gonna do that. Just like the last part, everyone continues living a normal life. Goten's eventually born too. And before, Piccolo felt like he missed out by not transferring himself to Gohan, but here he realized that would not be a good idea. He could have transferred himself to Goten, but then he'd be stuck in a baby's body when Goten was born. He's waiting for a better opportunity. He knows it's on the horizon. Goku continues working on his version of Super Saiyan, eventually fully mastering it, and at some point even going beyond it, now with his own pure version of Super Saiyan 2. Gohan unlocks Super Saiyan for himself at some point, and Vegeta's trying to catch up to Goku. Gohan's falling a little farther behind because he doesn't really have the motivation to fight here, but Goku is still trying to train him because first of all he's around, and second of all, he wants someone who could fight him if Piccolo is freed again. Well, as many people as possible. He already has other people like Tien and Krillin. Point being, it kind of balances out with Gohan. He's not training more, and he's not training less. It's pretty comparable to normal. Goku's pure Super Saiyan 2 also has some weird side effects. Unbeknownst to him, his attacks have an oddly purifying magic to them. It buffs him in a way and gives him an advantage against Evil Ki. To some extent, at least. He can also innately use magic somewhat, as well as regeneration at this point. It seems he has near-perfect control of all of Piccolo's abilities. And Kami is really helping a lot with this too. And with his regular Super Saiyan form, since it's mastered at this point, he tries to use Kaioken with it, which is incredibly stressful, but with his regeneration, it actually works. So he has pure Super Saiyan 2, and then on top of that is Super Kaioken, which actually is above Super Saiyan 2, but still very strenuous, so he doesn't really use it too much. But if he needs extra power, he can use that. Of course, this time period is supposed to be the 7-year time skip. So at the end of it, we get to the Buu Saga tournament. Pretty much every character is still around besides Android 18 and Piccolo. Not King Piccolo, the other Piccolo. We'll say Tien enters the tournament in Android 18's place, and as for Piccolo, well, it could be anyone. Doesn't really matter because the tournament gets crashed anyways. Spopovich and Yamu are there, and of course they're focused on Goku of all people. From what they know, his power is pretty interesting, and Babidi really wants to steal energy from him. Of course, Shin and Kibito are there too, and Shin changes up the tournament and has Goku fight Kibito first. Gohan and Videl would probably still meet, and she's definitely in this tournament. Thankfully, she doesn't have to fight Spopovich, because instead they're focused on Goku, so they have to find out some way to anger him and bring out his full power. So to do that, Spopovich tries to fight Gohan first, which ends very poorly. He's knocked out pretty much immediately. Spopovich was hoping to beat him down so Goku would get angry and show some more power. So Kibito has to work on something else. He asks Goku to show his full strength. He wants to see everything he's capable of, and he convinces Goku to go into Super Saiyan 2. Spopovich and Yamu jump in and then steal his energy. Piccolo almost tries to use this to escape, but then he realizes that's not going to work at all. What they stole from Goku is his pure energy, as in the purified energy. If King Piccolo went with that, he'd probably be expunged. And he doubts they're going to have any use with that energy unless they're trying to do something good, which they definitely aren't. So he hangs back for now. This could be an opportunity to escape, but not specifically using that. Shin and Kibito are actually completely undercover here because there's no Piccolo there to actually tell them who they are. That's Kami's knowledge. He's on the lookout still. So Shin and Kibito introduce themselves, explain what's going on, and then they follow Spopovich and Yamu to Babidi's ship. It's just Goku that goes though, although Vegeta decides to tag along. They've actually already finished their respective matches. Vegeta fought some random humans, so it was a pretty lopsided match. They both have time to spare. Babidi kills Spopovich and Yamu and takes the energy they got, and sends Dabur out to fight everyone. He goes against Goku. But as Babidi feeds the energy to Buu's egg, he sees that it's not actually doing anything. There's a ton of energy in here, but it's not helping Buu. Since the energy is purified, he can't really use it. Weirdly enough, the fight between Goku and Dabur is giving energy. But still, that's so slow compared to this. If he were able to use this energy for Buu, it would have been like 70% of what he needed. But the purifying nature of it means it doesn't work. He needs to rely on having an actual fight against Goku. It seems like stealing it right from the source won't work. Unless he does it with someone like Vegeta. He didn't account for this. He didn't know Goku had that kind of power. Dabur's fight gives some power, but it's really quick, especially because Shin tells Goku to make it quick. Dabur is defeated and Babidi barely got any energy from it. He needs another method, and he needs one really quickly. So he does the only thing he could think of. He tries to possess Vegeta. He doubts it'll work because even if they fight, it's probably going to end quickly. He needs to at least try it though. And thankfully, Vegeta does give in. Deep down, he still does want to see Piccolo manifest. He wants to test his limits. He kind of wants to go back to his old self. And that's when Babidi notices what's inside of Goku too. And he tries to do the same with Goku. Goku watches helplessly as Vegeta transforms. But then he starts feeling strange too. Babidi's not attacking Goku's mind. He's attacking Goku's heart, the seal used for Piccolo. He's trying to empower him, to free him somehow. Shin and Kibito watch on mortified, especially because Goku can't do anything. He goes into Super Saiyan 2 and tries to use that power to suppress everything. But Babidi's magic is emboldening Piccolo. Vegeta's transformation completes and he watches as Goku starts to transform too. Babidi promised that he'd have a fight with Piccolo, and he's getting exactly that. That extra pair of eyes appears on Goku's face again. And then, he undergoes the same transformation he went a while ago, with Piccolo fully manifesting and taking control of the body. Piccolo is free again. It feels so good after so long. And it looks like he already has a great opponent. The fight between Goku Daimao versus Majin Vegeta commences. This is going to be a long and tough battle. Of course, with Piccolo finally free again, he wants to take the opportunity to take over someone else's body. He promised himself he'd do this again and he wouldn't waste time. Unfortunately, Gohan's not around. That was going to be his target. But maybe he could do something else here. That's why he doesn't kill or defeat Vegeta right away. As for Vegeta, he's stronger under the spell, and to make the fight more balanced, Babidi didn't bring out any extra power from Goku. Piccolo was not under the spell, this is just Piccolo. He has no Majin symbol on his head and he doesn't have any extra awakened power. This way Babidi could drag out the fight for longer. They fight to their heart's content, but Piccolo's really just trying to wear Vegeta down. He doesn't know if this will work, but he at least has to try. Honestly, this might be the better option for him. What he's planning on doing is trying to take over Vegeta's body now. With Gohan, he knows this would have worked. But here, Piccolo can only see 3 outcomes. 1. He stays in Goku's body and eventually gets trapped in here again. Goku is definitely going to regain control soon. 2. He jumps into Vegeta's body, and Vegeta dies instantly, not being able to handle this, which would also kill Piccolo, and they could just revive Vegeta. Or, the third option, he jumps into Vegeta's body, and Vegeta can maintain it, but he has absolutely no control over Piccolo, and Piccolo could just commandeer his body as he wants. Even with the risk of the second option, he wants to see if the third option is possible. Once Vegeta's worn out, Piccolo thanks him for the fight, and a weird green energy starts surrounding both of them. While inside of Goku, he's been doing a lot of mental training, trying to use magic as a means to escape. What he's done here is essentially make his own Mafuba, one that lets him transfer his soul to another body. Essentially, Ginyu's body chains combined with a Mafuba, one that could transfer him to Vegeta. Shin and Kibito aren't sure what to do, they can't really get involved here. They don't have the power for it. When Piccolo starts doing this, they try and use their own magic to stop it, but they don't exactly know what Piccolo's doing, so they don't have a direct counter. There's a brilliant green glow. The two of them shield their eyes. All that's left behind is a massive crater. Quickly they walk up to it and see Goku laying there, unconscious. With Vegeta also unconscious too. But then Vegeta wakes up. He grabs his head and then he smiles. This is really weird to get adjusted to, but it looks like it worked. Goku wakes up not long after and he feels relieved, like a huge weight was lifted off his shoulders. He, Shin, and Kibito look over at Vegeta, who then powers up. But what they're looking at isn't Vegeta. The Majin symbol on his head starts glowing red, and an extra set of eyes opens on his face. It's like what Goku looked like against Raditz. This is the partially manifested Vegeta Daimao. Piccolo's body swap worked. He now has control over Vegeta's body, and it looks like Vegeta is not going to regain control. Instantly he launches at Goku to fight him. Quickly Kibito tries to heal Goku and he gets up, defending against the attack. Even though he's in his purified Super Saiyan 2, it's not really doing too much. He lost some power from this, but Vegeta gained power. It's Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, with the Majin buff on top of that, with Piccolo's buff on top of that too. Goku is essentially a slightly stronger Super Saiyan 2, and Piccolo's wasting no time. He's trying to kill Goku here. Goku can feel that he still has some of the innate powers that he got from Piccolo, like that regeneration and magic, which means he could probably use Super Kaioken. That's all he could really rely on here. Usually he only does this in Super Saiyan, but he's going to try it in Super Saiyan 2, activating Kaioken times 4 on top of it. It's painful, but it's working, and Goku temporarily gets the boost in power that lets him fight Majin Vegeta, or rather Majin Vegeta Daimao. All this time was Piccolo planning on doing this, and Piccolo says he wasn't really sure. He initially wanted to do this with Gohan, but this worked perfectly fine, so he might as well keep this body. He thought Vegeta would die from this, but it worked. Ever since he first saw Vegeta, he did think about this, even though Vegeta wasn't his primary candidate for it. Soon enough, he'll have full control over Vegeta's body, and then he could fully reincarnate as the normal King Piccolo. Goku needs to stop him before that happens. Not too far away is Gohan. The second he started sensing this fight, he decided to fly over. And now things are getting really bad, so he starts flying faster, realizing that they might need his help. It feels like his dad and Vegeta are fighting, but something's different about both of their energies. Suddenly there's a huge shift, and they don't feel like their normal selves. The second Gohan arrives, he sees Vegeta extend an arm out, penetrating right through Goku's chest, and then with his other arm, he charges a powerful Big Bang attack. Goku tries to regenerate, but it's already too late. He tells Shin and Kibito to get out of here and find Gohan, as the Big Bang attack engulfs him, killing him. He was so preoccupied, he didn't even notice Gohan's energy nearby. And the second Gohan sees this, he's blinded by rage, instantly powering into Super Saiyan 2, launching him towards Vegeta at immense speed, hitting him with a powerful kick right in the face. He actually thinks he's attacking Vegeta right now. He doesn't know why he'd kill Goku, but that doesn't matter. He goes in to fight him regardless. But the second he gets a closer look at Vegeta's face, it all makes sense. He's not fighting Vegeta. His rage grows even further. Vegeta's been taken over by Piccolo. The two start clashing. Piccolo has lost some strength by this point. Yeah, he did recover in Vegeta's body, but he is running out of stamina a bit. Vegeta had his tough fight with Goku, and then Piccolo had to fight Goku. Gohan is pretty much at full health. Plus, he has a huge boost from his rage right now. And because of that, the two are actually fighting somewhat evenly. He didn't realize Gohan had this much power. And you know, part of him contemplates trying to jump into Gohan's body, but he's not going to do that just for a little bit of extra power, especially with the risk of Gohan suppressing him like Goku does. He even tells Gohan this. He initially wanted to take his body, but after all of what just happened, he's going to keep this one. Although he does compliment Gohan's power, he didn't realize his rage would help him grow that much. It's almost on the level of Super Kaioken too. But just like Super Kaioken, it's probably fleeting. Shin wonders what his next course of action should be, but they were so focused on the fight that they completely forgot. This whole time, Babidi has been gathering energy, and everyone on the battlefield feels a huge ominous presence, and another fighter flies over. Majin Buu has been freed. Piccolo has a huge smile on his face, or Vegeta's face. He actually forgot about this too, but this'll be fun. Majin Buu might be a worthy opponent, especially because he could probably use his powers somehow. He never even thought of that. With this brief distraction, Shin then teleports over to Gohan and then brings him back to Kibito. Gohan says he still wants to fight and tells Shin not to get in the way, but Shin says they need to retreat. Gohan's still feeling his rage at the moment, but then something clicks with him too. He can't even kill Piccolo here. Like, even if he had the power to do that, Piccolo dying would mean Kami dies and they don't have the Dragon Balls here. They could just go to Namek, but they don't want to bring Piccolo there too. That could be even worse. They need to think of something else, especially because they can't even kill Piccolo right now. So Shin, Kibito, and Gohan teleport away, going to the tournament and meeting with Tien and Krillin, at the request of Gohan. They then go to the lookout and get Kami, and the 6 of them go to the Sacred World of Kais. Piccolo's glad that Brat finally got out of his way, as he eyes down Babidi and Buu in front of him. Babidi is pretty surprised to see this transformation, but he has no use for Piccolo or Vegeta anymore, so he's gonna have Buu kill them. Thankfully they can kill 2 birds with 1 stone because they're both of the same body. But Piccolo says he's not even close to done yet. An intense aura surrounds him. He starts putting immense stress on his body, and Babidi wonders what he's doing. Is he just powering up? It's not gonna do anything against Buu. There's only one way Piccolo can ensure complete control over this body. It's if he gets his old body back. Once more, this is something he planned for in his mental training. He couldn't necessarily do this with Goku because of his control on his body, but with Vegeta, he's completely taken over by now. He starts growing in size. With a combination of his regeneration and magic, his appearance begins changing too. This is incredibly painful for him. He's destroying Vegeta's body from the inside out, but in its place, regenerating something much better. The Majin symbol disappears from his head. His extra set of eyes close, and then he starts morphing even more severely. When the transformation completes, standing there in all his glory is King Piccolo, back to his normal self in his regular body. He's finally free at last. This is going to be a lot of fun for him. Piccolo begins his fight with Majin Buu. And Piccolo does have a lot more power, but he's still a little worn out. But thankfully, right before he killed Goku, he was able to get one last parting gift. He knew Goku had a Senzu Bean on him. He was part of Goku after all. So he made sure to take that from him, and he eats the Senzu Bean. He was saving it for a moment like this. He really needs it. And now the two could fight uninhibited. He notices Buu keeps regenerating, and it's pretty powerful too. Buu's regeneration seems way better than his, both in terms of potency and efficiency. He could actually stop Buu right now, but he lets Buu fight for a bit. He wants to study his moves. The easiest thing he could do is just Mafuba him. He suffered it himself, but he has bigger plans in mind. He even witnesses Buu's candy beam. You know what? That's actually a pretty good idea. He never thought of doing something like that. With his level of magic, he wonders if he could pull that off. He has his clothes beam, but what if he were to apply it to a person instead of their clothes? And turn them into something different? It should work as long as they're much weaker than him. He coaxes Buu into using it a few more times, dodging it easily and studying it further. Then he fires one back at Buu, or at least he makes it look like it's aimed at Buu. It launches right past him and hits Babidi. Too fast for Babidi to defend against. Babidi turns into a piece of candy, and Piccolo stretches an arm out, then eating the Babidi candy. It doesn't taste very good, but the candy beam at least worked, and it has the intended side effect. He's able to gain all of Babidi's powers. Physically, this won't affect him at all, but in terms of magic, he grows far more powerful than he could have hoped for. Now he has everything, incredible physical power and incredible magic power. Buu is really the only one who could rival him, and the only obstacle in his way. So he uses Buu as a punching bag for a bit, just to test his newfound strength. As much as he hates to admit it, Babidi did outclass him in magic. But it makes sense, Piccolo only really had mental training, and didn't really have much to practice his magic with. He has grown significantly, but still, it's not to this level, not even close. He even creates shields strong enough to stop Buu's attacks. His magic and ki are skyrocketing, and he can use them both together. He's manipulating the battlefield around him. But then he gets an even better idea. Babidi has the power of mind control. So what if he were to try that with Buu? The issue is Buu is really hard to control, and this magic is really new to Piccolo. On his resume, he has possessed someone before, but with very different circumstances. He was thinking he could use Buu as a weapon for himself, but he has an even better idea. Instead of having Buu as a weapon, what if he just took Buu's power as well? He tries to think of a way to do this, because he doesn't really know the best way. The candy beam might not be potent enough. As for the Mafuba, if he does something like what Goku did to him, then maybe he can contain Buu, but that gives Buu the chance to escape. And Babidi's possession won't work on its own either. But what if he were to combine all the three? And even better, after this, he could use it to absorb Kami's power. It's pretty surprising that Kami hasn't sacrificed himself, and Piccolo wonders why. But that's good for him. It means he's alive and he can take Kami's power next. But first, he wants to see if this works on Buu. What he does is essentially make his own type of fusion. It takes all of his power and concentration, but he combines the principles of 4 things. the power of the candy beam to transfigure the target, the power of the Mafuba to seal them, the power of mind manipulation for even better control, and his innate ability to fuse with the Namekians. He takes what he knows from every one of these, on top of his boosted magic. Plus, the fact that Babidi even knows how to manipulate energy from other people. Boo starts to dematerialize. It takes all of Piccolo's concentration and power, but it ends up working. Nothing is left of Boo, and he can feel that Boo's essence is part of him now. Basically, Piccolo's made his own new version of power absorption. It took everything he had, but now he has this brand new technique. Essentially what he has is Moro's energy absorption, except it's a lot slower, it takes a lot more focus, and it needs contact. He can't do it from a distance. But with this, he can essentially absorb the power of people. Boo was a pretty easy target to do this on. Not because he was weak, but because he was already basically innately suppressed. And Piccolo noticed that fact about him. There was a weird goodness to him. And just to make sure that doesn't bother him later, he expels that goodness from himself. And then he tries to test out the new power he has. He jumps up in the air, with such immense speed that he ends up leaving the atmosphere. He just wanted to jump. He looks around him, and realizes that he's breathing in space. That's also new to him. He does some laps around Earth, and then glares at one of the nearby planets. A simple beam from his eyes is enough to blow it up, with the beam flying right through it and just traveling throughout space even further. Well, he's got to be careful with collateral damage now. But that barely took any of his power to do. He remembers how strong he was before when he was first unleashed. All those years ago when he first fought Goku. His power wasn't even a fraction of this. He wonders if he even needs Kami. Honestly, he doesn't know if he even needs more power. He'd rather just make it by like this. At some point it would be redundant for him to steal power. It might be a nice last resort, but he doesn't really need more ki. He just wanted Boo's abilities because of how potent they were, how interesting they were. He even tests out regeneration. He cuts his own arm off and then instantly regenerates it. He didn't even feel the pain from it, and it barely took any stamina to do. And then his severed arm regenerates a second copy of himself, sharing his same mind. So this is the type of power he has now. It's deserving of a new upgraded name. He's no longer just King Piccolo. He's Majin Emperor Piccolo. Because that's what he's going to be. He's going to be the next Emperor, the next Lord Frieza. He returns to Earth, teleporting to the World Tournament. He lets everyone know his new title, and the fact that he's already stopped any opposition. This time King Piccolo won't stop. He'll take over Earth once more and succeed fully this time. But they don't need to worry. He won't destroy it, or them. He needs an empire after all, so everyone's gonna live. Besides any sort of opposition, of course. This message from the World Tournament is broadcasted everywhere. Let's go to Otherworld for a bit. Goku, of course, is allowed to keep his body up here. Right when he died, he went across Snake Way and met with King Kai, who's been watching everything with Earth. It's good that Goku's back to his normal self, and it seems he has kept some of the powers that Piccolo had for him. But at his current level, he's definitely not going to be able to stop Piccolo, especially with the fact that he just absorbed Majin Buu. So he spends his time up here thinking of what to do next. The Mafuba won't even work because Piccolo knows that. He knows the counters to it. Plus, Piccolo's so much stronger and faster than him that Goku doesn't even know if he'll be able to use it properly. But amidst his planning, someone else arrives on the planet. Surprisingly enough, Vegeta's here. He died when Piccolo incarnated because Piccolo forced his soul out to make sure that he wouldn't lose control. So that at least explains why he's dead, but how is he here? Well, Vegeta's not too sure either, but it looks like he was granted a body in Otherworld. It's probably due to the dire circumstances. But weirdly enough, something's different about Vegeta too. Personality-wise, he's still the same exact person. Like, nothing's changed about him mentally. But the reason he ended up here instead of Hell is interesting, and King Kai can instantly see why. It feels like Vegeta doesn't have evil within him anymore. Of course, he's considered a better person by now, but King Kai's talking about his innate presence. It's almost like Piccolo took all the evil with him. And that is pretty much what Piccolo did. To ensure no one else could take control of his body, just like he did with Buu, Piccolo has expunged any sort of good from himself. So not only did he separate Vegeta from him, but whatever goodness was from Vegeta. Essentially the inverse of what Goku did with pure Super Saiyan. King Kai wonders if there's some sort of bad within him. Like, he can't be completely good-hearted right now. Although, maybe he is. King Kai can't really tell. He was just surprised to see Vegeta here in the first place, and same for Goku. Weirdly enough, two more people appear on the planet, and they're completely unfamiliar. They also appear to be dead because they have halos on their head. But then it clicks with King Kai who these two are. And he immediately bows down to show respect and tells the other two to bow as well. It's the Grand Supreme Kai and the South Supreme Kai. Remember I mentioned the fact that Piccolo expunged any sort of good from him? Well, these two were part of Buu. These two also kinda held Buu back, which made the absorption a lot easier. Buu wasn't completely unhinged, and Piccolo wasn't gonna have these two as part of him. Well, that really changes things a lot. Speaking of Kais, what's happening on the sacred world of Kais? Gohan, Krillin, Tien, and Kami have been working on a solution too. They have no clue of what's happening on King Kai's planet at the moment. So, they're up to their own thing. Gohan has actually pulled out the Z-Sword, and he's gonna try and train with it to kill Piccolo with. He promises that he will kill Piccolo himself. And Kami has actually considered sacrificing himself. That would have been an easy way to do that. Especially because after Piccolo became himself again, Vegeta died, so they wouldn't be killing Vegeta in the process too. There's nothing holding Kami back from doing this. Except, there's two big issues. So, had he done this earlier, Boo would have gone on a rampage. Of course, Piccolo's a huge threat too, but he was the only thing stopping Boo from going on a rampage here. But they have been keeping up with the situation, and if Kami tries to do this now, they don't know how it'll affect Boo. They know Boo is a part of Piccolo. And Kami worries that if he dies, Boo will be unleashed, and they will have no way of stopping him. There is a slight chance that Kami killing himself kills Piccolo, and that would take Boo with them, but the issue is they never tested this with Goku, and don't know the exact results. Before, Kami thought there were two outcomes, both Piccolo and Goku die, or just Piccolo dies. They avoided it because of the former, but now he's worried about the latter. There's a chance that Boo would live and be freed once more. Maybe even Babidi too, because he's part of Piccolo, albeit as candy, especially because there's so many variables here. It's not like what happened with Goku and Piccolo before. Piccolo took over Vegeta's body the same way, but the method he used to get Boo and Babidi's power, that was completely different. And to make things even worse, if they do unleash Boo, he might be completely unbridled. Shin fears that he'll be completely evil, because those other two Kais were a part of him this entire time, and Piccolo probably would have expunged them from himself, which means they've been expunged from Boo. So if Boo were freed, he'd be Kid Boo. Although he's not exactly sure, maybe those two Kais are still part of him. But again, there's too many variables to do this, it's way too risky. Although it does make him wonder, what did happen to those two Kais? They're either a part of Piccolo now and can try and suppress him, or Piccolo eliminated them. So where would they be now? Amidst this training and thinking, the Z-Sword eventually breaks, with Elder Kai being freed next. It's a bargain sale on Kais today. So before Shin and Kami can discuss that any further, they need to figure out what's going on with Elder Kai first. But then another Kai contacts them. It's King Kai, and he has a few big surprises. For one, Vegeta and Goku are on his planet. And two, the South Supreme Kai and Grand Supreme Kai are back. They're dead, but also on his planet. The Grand Supreme Kai teleports everyone over to that planet. This is a very good turn because first of all, Goku and Vegeta are still here. Yeah, they're dead, but they're here. Especially for Vegeta because they weren't sure what his fate would be. Piccolo inadvertently helped him here. Goku would have been in Otherworld with his body regardless though. But now the other two Kais are here to help. Maybe with this crew they could finally end this. They'll find a way to stop Piccolo for good. And Kami also realizes that if Piccolo dies in the process, he will die for sure. The difference is, if they kill Piccolo, it also completely eliminates the threat of Majin Buu. If they kill Kami instead, that threat might still be there. Unfortunately for Kami, he realizes these might be his last few days, but he'll spend what little of his life is left defending Earth to no end. He is the Guardian after all. He needs to make sure Earth is fine, even if that means him dying in the process, which is why he considered sacrificing himself in the first place. What's happening back on Earth though? By this point a day has passed. Piccolo starts to usher in his new empire. And despite his amazing power, he can't be in all these different places at once. Well, at least as he is now. He can split himself up into multiple copies. This isn't anything new for him, but thanks to Buu, he could do this so much more efficiently and effectively. But then, no one would know who the real King Piccolo is. That would be a problem. Thankfully, he has the perfect solution for this. It's something he's done long ago, but never really got to complete. He creates his sons once more. This time even making a few extra. But just as a little extra piece of security, not only are there more sons this time, but he's created one special one in particular. Someone who's going to serve as his right-hand man. His most powerful son, who also bears the same name as him. Obviously, Piccolo feels like he's fine now, but if he dies, then he'll be reincarnated through this son. So if by some chance they pull off a miracle and kill him, everything he has will be imparted onto his son, the newly born Piccolo Jr. And while he will be Piccolo's strongest son, he's not going to be the strongest son at the moment. All of Piccolo's other sons are born fully grown. This one is born as an actual kid. Thankfully, he'll grow up pretty quickly, like in a few years' time. Maybe even less. And that's a small price to pay for the security. This son will be his heir. If something bad happens to Piccolo, he'll take over. And if nothing bad happens to Piccolo, which is likely the case, he'll have a powerful, smart, loyal right-hand man. Piccolo and his sons all usher in a brand new era for planet Earth. This is the first planet that's going to be part of his empire, although certainly not the last. Piccolo has much grander plans this time. He knows some things about Frieza, but he doesn't have the complete picture there. Although he knows he was a great emperor with many planets under his control, but that empire will look like a joke in comparison to what Piccolo has in mind. He'll rule every galaxy, the entire universe maybe. He can't wait to get started. Piccolo heads back out into space. He could survive here now, and he could travel here pretty quickly too. He admires Earth from a distance, his brand new empire. Or rather, the start of his new empire. He's going to be prospecting new places out in space to take over. Of course, they can't do it just yet, but he wants to spend some time out there. His sons have all of this under control. Plus, he also wants to spend some time tracking down the Supreme Kai. He knows there are other godly beings, and he wants to make sure they don't get in his way. Especially because they're working with other people that are working against Piccolo. Goku and Vegeta are dead, but he knows Gohan's still alive, same for Krillin and Tien. Right now they're not an issue for him, but if he leaves them unchecked, they'll probably grow considerably. He leaves Earth to his sons. Meanwhile, in the sacred world of Kais, Elder Kai performs the ultimate ritual on Gohan, while Goku and Vegeta spend time training together. Same for Krillin and Tien. They're told about Potara fusion as well. Although this should be a last resort because according to Elder Kai, it'll be a permanent fusion. They have to plan their next move wisely, especially with how strong Piccolo is at the moment. But at the same time, they can't wait too long because King Piccolo is already taking over Earth. And from what the Kais could tell, he just went out into space for some reason. He's teleporting around with new powers that he's gained. He's adapting really quickly to the new abilities that he has, even creating new ones for himself. They need to stop this before it gets really bad. Piccolo's sons begin to enforce his rule on Earth. They're sent out individually with the task of taking over different parts of the world. By now it's pretty much already been taken over. But this way he could strengthen his rule. While he's tying up the loose ends with the people who are going to fight him, he's confident his son's going to sort out Earth for him. Another day passes. Around the world, armies are trying to rise up against King Piccolo's army. But despite how small King Piccolo's army is, it's just a couple of his sons, they overpower every world military. And once more, his sons go after world tournament contenders, making sure they get rid of any strong person on Earth. And of course, they're trying to find the Dragon Balls, but they'll need the Dragon Ball radar for that first. There's also some priority targets. Anyone who's friends with a Goku, or anyone who's related to him. Same for Vegeta. Goten and Trunks are on the top of the list for that reason. They should still be on Earth. And also people like Roshi and Yamcha are targeted. Thankfully they're all safe on the lookout. Kami did briefly go back to Earth to bring them up there because he knew they'd be targeted. And Piccolo's sons do have a lot on their plate in the first place. So thankfully they never get to those people. At least not immediately. At some point, one of them gets to the lookout, Tambourine Jr. Of course they knew of the lookout's existence. They just had to actually locate it first because it keeps moving around. Tambourine goes after Goten and Trunks. Quickly they power up into Super Saiyan. He then takes a powerful blow to the head. He looks over to see Kami and Tien, with Kami then teleporting away. Tambourine is then attacked again, seeing that the person attacking him is Krillin. This isn't the same exact Tambourine as before, but of course this is going to be personal for Krillin regardless. He tells Tien to watch the others. He'll handle Tambourine. Another one of the sons arrives on the lookout, and Tien fights him. But Krillin makes pretty quick work of Tambourine. He's much stronger than the other Tambourine he fought, but Krillin's also way stronger than he was back then. A single Kienzan decapitates him. And just for good measure, Krillin makes sure to launch a Kamehameha to kill him completely. It seemed even after being decapitated he was fine. They forgot. Piccolo has boost powers and it seems that his sons got some of those as well. It's not as potent as what King Piccolo has, but still. They have way better regeneration and way more power. Krillin and Tien jump off the lookout, powering up to their fullest so all of King Piccolo's sons come towards them. They fly by Korin, get some Senzu beans, and then fly over to a nearby wasteland. They sense powers approaching, but someone else then teleports to them. It's King Piccolo himself. He could sense everything happening here, and even while he's all the way out in space, he can communicate with his sons here. When he heard these two were back on Earth, he wanted to make sure he could deal with them himself. His sons might not have the power necessary to take them on, but he definitely does. They're nothing to him. Although he is pretty impressed because he thought his sons were more powerful. But it makes sense, he made them really quickly. Thankfully that won't be the case for Piccolo Jr., although he's definitely not ready to fight yet. Piccolo briefly fights Tien and Krillin, but the two also retreat really quickly, each performing a solar flare and getting away. The solar flare is so powerful that it even dulls Piccolo's ki senses. They've definitely been training and working on their techniques. And when his vision returns, he sees 3 people instead. He doesn't know if he's seeing things, but then it fully comes back. He's not seeing things. Krillin and Tien are gone. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan are there. And Piccolo laughs seeing them. He doesn't even know how they're here. It looks like the gods really want him dead. They're letting dead people come here to fight him. He thought he fully got rid of them, but it seems not. He even thought that anyone killed by him wouldn't pass on into the afterlife. It looks like the gods must have had a soft spot for these two in particular, because this is really out of the norm. Although it's too little too late, he doubts they've gotten much stronger. Well, Goku and Vegeta haven't grown much, but Gohan had just finished his ritual. He would have come with Krillin and Tien earlier, but he couldn't. He needed just a little bit of extra time. Thankfully those two bought it for him. He's the first one to jump in, powering up fully into Ultimate, facing off against King Piccolo. He definitely has an impressive amount of power, but it's not going to be nearly enough to fight King Piccolo, especially as he is now. That doesn't matter. That's why there's 3 of them. Goku and Vegeta enter the battle as well. For all 3 of them, this is personal. Mostly for Goku and Vegeta though. But even in a 3v1, Piccolo's advantaged. He has so many new abilities he could try and utilize here. First he goes for the Candy Beam. He could just finish this quickly. He'd rather just have them out of his non-existent hair. He doesn't want to make the same mistakes as last time and be trapped forever somehow. He doubts it's even possible anymore, but he might as well not even entertain the risk. He wants them dead as quick as possible. But thankfully there is one thing working in their favor. All the abilities Piccolo just got are still new to him. He doesn't really know what he's capable of, nor does he know how to fully utilize those abilities. So they don't see the full extent of his power because of that. But he's definitely going to try and bring it out throughout battle, because he knows this is a downside. As the 3 of them fight, Goku suggests to Vegeta that they fuse. It's clear they're not going to win this, which is surprising because he thought at least with Gohan's new power, that would be enough. But they didn't realize Piccolo was this strong now. But Vegeta's not up for fusion, it's permanent. He doesn't want to do that. So Goku has to try and convince him. He could even try and fuse with Gohan, but Elder Kai made it sound like he should fuse with Vegeta instead. So he's really pushing for it. And thankfully at some point he does get through to Vegeta. So they put on the Batara earrings and begin the fusion. With Gohan watching on in amazement too because he didn't expect it to actually happen. But now he feels a lot more confident. With how much Elder Kai was hyping it up, it should be really helpful here. That boost that he gave Gohan surely was. And once the fusion completes, that seems to be exactly the case. A new warrior stands there in front of Piccolo. A fusion between Goku and Vegeta. Vegito. Instantly he powers up into Super Saiyan. If Piccolo's gonna merge his power with someone else, it's only fair they do the same. Thankfully they're not badly injured at the moment either. Plus someone shouts at them from nearby. It's Krillin, tossing a Senzu to Gohan and one to Vegito. These were the last two Korin had left, so make good use of them. They each eat a Senzu bean and fully power up again. This is exactly why Piccolo wanted to kill them so quickly. He knew something like this would happen. They'd have some sort of trick up their sleeve. Is he getting concerned? He doesn't really think so. And he could sense that his sons are falling one by one. This entire time, Tien and Krillin were killing the rest of his sons, who all were nearby because they came here to kill them in the first place. He won't let it happen like this. After all this time and effort, he finally got freed. He does have that one backup plan, but he doesn't want to rely on that. But he calms himself. He won't have to rely on that. He'll win here. He doesn't need to fall back on Piccolo Jr. The final battle begins. Ultimate Gohan and Vegito versus Piccolo. And Vegito feels something weird about his power. Well, at least the Vegeta side of him does. He has access to Goku's pure Super Saiyan, and it's strange. Maybe this is the reason Goku went to the afterlife. He completely forgot about it. That purifying energy he has that might have just protected him against Piccolo. And as for Vegeta, he wasn't necessarily killed by Piccolo, his soul was just pushed out of his own body. Neither of them know the specifics behind it, but no point in questioning it now. They just feel like someone in the comments might be questioning that. Well, Vegeta wants to let you know they got off on a technicality. And they got new bodies thanks to the gods helping them. But also thanks to that purifying energy, now Vegito can use that in his favor against Piccolo. It'll help him be even stronger. The battle rages on. Piccolo creates a duplicate of himself, one to fight Gohan and one to fight Vegito. Not only is Gohan much stronger, but he's just a better warrior in general. Piccolo never really paid much attention to him. But that's what happens when your father is Goku. And of course, Vegito is a huge threat. Not only is his power insane, but he's the fusion of two great warriors. Piccolo is starting to feel the pressure. But he is still ahead. Well, at least at first. The more he's attacked by Vegito, the more he starts to feel weakened. He can't really put his finger on what he's feeling or why he's feeling it, but then it clicks with him. His control over Buu is growing dull. It's thanks to Vegito's purifying energy. Of course, this won't completely remove his power, but Vegito is slowly chipping away at the power that Buu had. Piccolo was very far ahead before, but now he's actually facing a challenge. And Piccolo starts to get desperate. He's not being cocky here because he knows what happened the last time he got cocky. He escaped and then got trapped again. And he knows what everyone here is capable of. He's not going to underestimate them, as much as he would love to. But he has one last thing to use as a last resort. This should guarantee his victory, regardless. Out of desperation, he tries to absorb power from Vegito. And it is working. Vegito's strength is being sapped and given to Piccolo. But he can't contain the energy. It's still that same purifying energy he had before. Piccolo thought Vegito was actively applying that to his attacks. What he doesn't realize is that it's just Vegito's regular energy because of Goku. The energy he's stealing is basically poison to him, and it heavily weakens him even further. Plus, with his control over Buu growing duller, energy absorption is a lot slower in the first place. He stops before it does too much damage. And this did actually take energy from Vegito too, to the point where Vegito completely defuses, which Vegeta's really glad about, but also at the same time, they kind of panic over it too. They don't know the fusion's temporary, and Piccolo doing this really short in the time of it. But Gohan still has power left. Like he said, he's going to be the one to finish off Piccolo. At the very least, he wants to help in the process. Piccolo tries to absorb energy from him, but that doesn't work. He can't do it in time. By now, he's lost so much power that he's basically on Gohan's level, maybe even a little below that. Gohan damages him even further. And Piccolo really doesn't know what to do at this point. He's gonna die here, isn't he? That power from Vegito completely expelled Buu from him. He's gone. Buu's dead. And all that power went with him. There is one more way out of this. One way to prevent his death. He hates the idea of this, but this is better than certain death. He could seal himself into someone once more. The process shouldn't be too hard, just apply the Mafuba to himself and use it on Goku or Gohan. Ideally the latter because he's still alive. A mysterious green energy begins surrounding him, and Piccolo starts to dematerialize. And Gohan stands ready. He expected this. They actually thought he might get this desperate, and as Piccolo's dematerializing, someone then punches right through him, launching through his torso, splitting him right in half. It's Goku, using the rest of his power and applying all his purifying energy to this punch. Gohan and Vegeta then each stick a hand out, lending the rest of their energy to him. He really needs it at this point. He thanks them. He didn't really have much left in the tank. He charges all of this energy into a purifying Kamehameha. Piccolo watches with a look of horror on his face, but it slowly turns into an accepting smile. Well done, Son Goku. He truly is a powerful specimen, but Piccolo knows this isn't the end for him. He is engulfed completely by the Kamehameha, destroyed and purified at the same time. King Piccolo is finally dead. Goku gives his thumbs up to Vegeta and Gohan. They finally did it. It's over. Although it is a bit sad because in the process, Kami died. Goku and Vegeta have to return to Otherworld for a bit, but they tell Gohan to go to Namek and get the Dragon Balls there. That way they could be revived. Plus, they could restore the damage that way too. But then they hear someone talking to them. It's the Grand Supreme Kai. He confirms that Piccolo's completely dead, and his soul is gone too. But strangely enough, Kami is still alive. He's completely fine. He even teleports back to Earth, just to look for himself. And even Shenron should still be intact. So if he's still alive, why? Unbeknownst to everyone else, Piccolo Jr. awaits, and he's now lifelink with Kami. Plus, he inherited a lot of King Piccolo's power. It might not be as potent, but even with Buu gone, he should still retain some of that. That's why at the last moment, Piccolo wasn't really that concerned. He doesn't like that he had to rely on that, but he had that backup plan for a reason. The series isn't over, but we'll be going a bit faster now. It's about Piccolo as much as it's about Goku, so with King Piccolo dead, we won't focus on anything that doesn't involve him or Piccolo Jr. Speaking of that, why didn't Kami die? That's because he's actually linked to Piccolo Jr. now, which does raise suspicion because he assumed he would have died alongside King Piccolo. Something weird's happening, but they're not sure exactly what. Piccolo Jr. will be in the background for a bit, because he still has to grow up. And he's already beginning to hatch his plan against Goku. With Shenron still intact, anyone killed by the actions of Piccolo or his sons are brought back. This of course includes Goku and Vegeta. Thankfully this wish is phrased to only bring good people back, so Babidi doesn't return, and as for Buu, well, that was more Vegito's fault. Still, no more loose ends. Eventually Battle of Gods happens, and even with all the crazy changes so far, I don't see anything affecting how this story would go. So Beerus comes to Earth around the same time as normal, looking for the Super Saiyan God, and that ends up being Goku. Again, we can go a little bit faster here, so we're kinda gonna skim through Battle of Gods. Everything happens pretty much the same, there might be some small differences, but nothing worth mentioning. One difference is the fact that Beerus and Whis might actually know about King Piccolo, and the fact that Goku became a vessel for him somehow. Weird, they've never seen anything like that. A Saiyan with a Namekian living inside of him who's been sealed inside of him. Beerus hopes that doesn't mean Goku's weak without Piccolo, and he surely isn't. For the past few years, he's been getting adjusted to his old self. Weirdly enough, he has kept his regeneration powers and some limited magic. He lost a lot of the crazier things that Piccolo had, but Piccolo has been a part of him for so long that it's changed how his entire body functions essentially. His regeneration is a bit more limited now, but still, he actually has it weirdly enough, even in this newish body he was given. He's innately become used to doing that. Beerus could see that he'll definitely be a worthy rival, especially now as the Super Saiyan God. As Goku continues down that path, with Vegeta eventually following him, Piccolo Jr. is growing in secret. Before Beerus arrives, he actually does reach maturity, and he's waiting for the perfect time to attack. He's inherited a lot from King Piccolo, including some of that same power, down to Majin Buu's abilities. He's very unique, especially from the regular Piccolo Jr. we know. He was born way later on into the story, he has greater power, different abilities, and a partially Majin makeup as well, which is pretty fitting for someone evil like him. He spends his time honing his powers as much as he can. He witnessed King Piccolo's final battle. King Piccolo relayed everything to Piccolo Jr. during that fight. They shared a mental connection, and Piccolo Jr. could even see what was happening. And one thing he knows is that his father didn't really have full control of his abilities. And that's part of the reason he lost. So not only was Piccolo Jr. waiting to be fully grown, he was also working on these powers. He's still not a master yet because Buu has a wide variety of powers, and there's no way he's ever going to master everything. Same for all of Babidi's powers too. But by now, he's already surpassed King Piccolo. He just wants to make sure he's well above his father. At some point, he decides to go after the Dragon Balls. He does have to do this really covertly, and first that means stealing the Dragon Ball radar, so he takes his time with it. He can fight now if he wants, but he's going to play this really safe. He wants to make sure Goku, Vegeta, and everyone else dies. And amidst his search for the Dragon Balls, he encounters another group going for the Dragon Balls, Frieza's army. He kills them all pretty covertly, which inadvertently prevents Frieza from being revived. After all this time, they eventually found this planet. Piccolo Jr. puts two and two together. He realizes who these people are, and after the fact realizes what he just stopped. That wasn't his intention, but still, that's one less roadblock for him. Eventually he gets all the Dragon Balls, and he quickly summons Shenron. He has to be really quick with this because Kami will probably have an eye on him now, and realize what's going on. He asks for Shenron to unlock his full potential. He's not entirely sure what happened, but against King Piccolo, Gohan came back with even greater power. As for Goku and Vegeta, they didn't really grow too much, but for Gohan to grow that quickly in such a short amount of time, something supernatural must have happened, more supernatural than the normal stuff they see. Piccolo couldn't quite put his finger on what it was, but he decided to ask Shenron to unlock his power like this. And he actually was correct. That's exactly what happened to Gohan. In a different manner, but still, same principle. Shenron unlocks his power. Piccolo knows there's still one more thing he needs to do, but this is a huge boost in strength for him. As what's essentially a Majin Namekian hybrid, he has a ton of power locked away. But to truly unlock the full extent of his power, he'll need to absorb Kami's power as well. And now's the time to strike. The reason he was being so covert is because he wanted to go after Kami. Kami could have either killed himself to kill Piccolo, or he could have had the others protect him. But Goku and Vegeta are temporarily off Earth, so Piccolo instantly teleports up to the lookout. No words are exchanged. He places a hand on Kami and begins absorbing all of his power, forcibly fusing the two of them together. Thanks to his knowledge and training, his absorption is much more potent than King Piccolo's. It doesn't take all of his focus, and it doesn't take as long. So pretty much immediately after he teleports up here, he and Kami become one, and Piccolo could feel all the power coursing through him. He's finally reunited like he's supposed to be, but he's also the dominant one. Kami isn't influencing him in any way. Plus, there's nothing anyone can do to stop him now. He should be much stronger than everybody. He has way more abilities, and they don't have the Dragon Balls anymore. Sure, they could go to Namek, but Piccolo doesn't think they'll just head there right away. They're probably going to want to fight him first. So now, he just waits on the lookout, waiting for Goku and Vegeta to return. He would love to just go and find them right now, but he can't actually get to Beerus' planet. He could teleport pretty much anywhere else, but he just doesn't know where that is. Nor does he know that's where they are. But it doesn't take too long for them to get word of what happened. Whis brings them back to Earth, and Goku and Vegeta arrive on the lookout. And Goku can't believe what he's seeing. It's Piccolo. Although it doesn't really look like the same Piccolo from before. He's a little different. King Kai then starts speaking in his mind, telling Goku to leave immediately. It's too dangerous. He can't fight this guy. Something's off here. He was actually the one to alert Goku of everything because he saw that Kami was gone, knowing that he's part of Piccolo. But something about Piccolo is really off-putting, like he's way stronger than they think he is. But also King Kai's just terrified of the possibility that he might have powers even greater than King Piccolo. As in, not just his physical power, but his actual abilities might be better too. Where the hell did he come from? They defeated Piccolo so long ago. Why now? Piccolo Jr. formally introduces himself. The final and most powerful son of King Piccolo. Also, technically his reincarnation. King Piccolo's memories live on within him, as does his burning hatred for Goku. But not just that, his power too. He can't say for certain, but he feels he's long surpassed his father by now. Mr. Popo watches terrified nearby, and he notices some of the tiles from the lookout start to rise. All of them are rising around them. They all start swirling around, with Piccolo throwing them all at Goku and Vegeta, tearing the lookout apart completely. Telekinetically, he then opens the door to the time chamber. With one hand each, he grabs onto Goku and Vegeta, flying in there and dragging them in with him. This way no one's going to sense them and no one's going to join. On the outside, this battle is going to be over before anyone even realizes. Of course, Piccolo can't just trap them in here. He knows they could escape. Plus, he'd be trapping himself in here too. That's not the point. This is just to prevent any interference. He's trying to do this as cleanly as possible. He's learned from his father's mistakes. No matter how powerful he thinks he is, he can't get too cocky. Especially with that god of destruction around. He's not sure if Beerus would even decide to join, but with this he could finish the fight before he even decides to, if he does. Piccolo instantly goes into his power awakened state. Quickly, they're able to go into Super Saiyan God. Individually, they're weaker than Piccolo, but together, they're much stronger, making it a pretty tense battle. If Piccolo really wanted to kill both of them and not risk anything at all, why do this? Why fight the two of them together and not do something like, I don't know, throwing them out into space where they can't survive but he can? It's kind of just a pride thing at this point. That's the one flaw he has here. He wants to know that he can defeat both of them at once, and by his own hand. That is a huge aspect of it. He needs this too, especially for the vengeance. It would be pretty unfulfilling if he did it any other way. And he feels like he could actually win this too. He's waited more than long enough, and with his power now, he should be far beyond them. Although, they do have a state above Super Saiyan God, one that they only just recently unlocked. So they don't have great control over it, but they go into Super Saiyan Blue. Piccolo didn't expect this, but it doesn't matter. He tries to draw out even more power. This power awakened state is intoxicating. It's like the power he's drawing out is nearly limitless. Before, when Shenron granted the wish, it was only based on Piccolo's regular potential. But ever since merging with Kami, his reserves of potential have grown even greater. And again, there's the fact that he's not a normal Namekian by any means. His potential is incredible, and this form is growing as he fights. Plus, there's the fact that Goku and Vegeta can't control Super Saiyan Blue too well. If they keep fighting like this, they're definitely going to run out of stamina, and Piccolo's going to grow too strong for them to defeat. If they knew to expect this, they would have brought the Batara with them, but they don't have it on them, and they didn't know this is what they were going to run into. But Vegeta has an idea. They need to get on the outside though, because he can't do this from in here. The two start running circles around Piccolo, creating a bunch of clones to distract him. Of course, Piccolo could see through this really easily. They're just hoping he buys the bait. They don't use this to try and attack him. They use this to go for the door, escaping the Room of Spirit and Time, barely making it to open the door and getting out of there. Vegeta then telepathically communicates with Beerus and Whis, saying they need to go. Vegeta and Goku hate the idea that they have to leave the fight, but just like Piccolo, they're not going to take any chances here. It's weird, Goku thought his purifying power would help here, but it doesn't seem to work. He's been using it the entire time throughout this fight, but it doesn't work on Piccolo Jr. Beerus and Whis then head to the lookout. But quickly, Piccolo then shifts the lookout, moving it to the other side of the planet. Not that this is an issue for them, but he just needs to buy a little bit of time. Like a few seconds. Because once more he grabs onto the two of them, throwing them into the time chamber. With Kami's powers, he can control the lookout as he wants, and he can feel that Beerus and Whis are heading here. He actually does have the ability to feel godly presences here. He then sends a bunch of ki blasts up into the air, heading to the time chamber as they rain down, destroying the lookout and destroying the time chamber, with Mr. Popo barely escaping and jumping off the lookout. What did he do that for? He just trapped them all in there. Again, Piccolo's just trying to buy some more time because even a few seconds on the outside is great. That's a couple more minutes on the inside. Even 1 second means about 6 more minutes in there. Beerus and Whis are fast, but he also fights pretty quickly, so if they're fighting inside the time chamber with dilated time like that, it makes a huge difference. Of course, he knows they could escape, but that's only if they survive. He's not just going to let them brute force their way out here, and if he wants to get out, he could just make a portal if he needs. He then goes for the kill, trying to absorb the rest of their powers. And with how much better his absorption is, it does work, and he takes a good chunk of their energy, as well as getting all the info about them, copying their techniques and such. But he sees something weird. A portal opens up in the sky. Whis is glad he found them, although he didn't realize they were in another dimension. He pulls them through the portal and leaves. And when they're back on the outside, Goku and Vegeta see that Beerus and Shin are there too. Shin says it might be a good idea to keep Piccolo in there. And just as he's about to jump through Whis' portal, it closes. And Shin tries everything he can to seal off this dimension completely. He doubts it's going to work, but it's at least worth a shot. While Beerus asks them what the hell even happened in there. Piccolo tries to escape, but he does feel a bit of Shin's magic. There's a seal, but if Shin wants to keep it completely intact, he's going to have to do this 24/7. This will only hold Piccolo for about a few hours on the outside. Which of course is a few months in here. That's nothing to him. Plus, he can actually train in here in the meantime, and soon enough Shin's magic will weaken, or Piccolo's magic will grow enough that he could escape on his own. He's not worried at all. They're trying to do exactly what he did. They're trying to buy some time by exploiting the time chamber. His own plan worked against him. He should have seen it coming. Although he is mad at himself. He was so close to winning. Maybe his pride got the best of him. He thought he was playing it smart, but still, there was that aspect that he didn't even notice or acknowledge. But maybe this isn't so bad. He learned from this. He can grow by just spending his time here training. Plus, he probably should get more accustomed to his powers. He's used to all the other magical abilities that he has. But the one thing he didn't really get to spend too much time with was his new raw power. Not just the power he got from Kami, but the power he got from Shenron as well. It looks like he still got hasty in some regard. But it's fine. He'll use this to his advantage. He'll train in here. And he'll grow even beyond where he is now. Besides, he feels there's more power underneath the surface that he hasn't accessed yet. It's only a matter of time before he finally achieves victory. Stuck in the time chamber, Piccolo Jr. trains in here for a bit. He stays in here for so long that, by the time the spell wears off, he doesn't even realize it. He continues training. But he's able to leave, completely destroying the time chamber and then heading into space. He's going to grow strong enough to steal even more power. And by relying on that technique, no one will contest him. Plus, he should try and gather info from a distance. Thanks to magic, he could do this, tracking Goku and Vegeta's every move and learning more about that god of destruction as well. He needs to make sure all his bases are covered. And his time chamber training has really helped him unlock his physical power. Now he's at a level much higher than before. But still, he can never be too safe. The Universe 6 tournament eventually rolls around. Goku and Vegeta want to use the time chamber, and they talk to Mr. Popo, who did actually rebuild it himself, learning that Piccolo actually destroyed it and escaped, but he hasn't been seen anywhere since. It doesn't really matter to Goku and Vegeta. The next time they encounter Piccolo, they will be more than prepared. This time chamber is still Kami's, so they don't really have that much time in there, but hey, it's better than nothing, especially because Popo was able to rebuild it. For the Tournament of Destroyers, the team is Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Krillin, and Tien, but Goku's the first one up and he pretty much sweeps everything. Even when he gets hit by frost poison, that doesn't matter. He could regenerate. Just like his body did with the heart virus, it counters the poison somehow. Pretty much instinctively. He didn't even realize he was poisoned. Besides Hit, Magetta's actually the toughest fight because he's trying to wear Goku out. But he gets through it. And as for Hit, using Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken is pretty easy. It's a lot more advanced here, especially with his regeneration. He got the hang of it much earlier on, and he's much better with it. Using it to defeat Hit and single-handedly win the tournament. The others wish they got a chance to fight, especially Vegeta, but Beerus is very happy. He knew Goku was powerful, but didn't realize he grew to that extent. Following the tournament, there's no stuff with Zamasu because there's no time traveler here. Sure, he'd probably see the fights on GodTube and get mad about Goku using Godly Ki, but he'd never learn about mortals time traveling because that didn't happen here. The closest thing is Hit manipulating time. Even though the tournament went well, Goku's mind is somewhere else. He's trying to go beyond his current limits, but also, he really wonders where Piccolo's at and what he's up to. Whis decides to look into it, because Piccolo's been very quiet. So, what did happen with Piccolo? Well, after he left Earth, he went out into space, both for knowledge and for power. Amidst his travels at one point, he came across somewhere where there was a lot of powers in one spot, and it turned out to be the Galactic Patrol prison. And he could sense a really strong magical presence in there, maybe someone whose power he could steal. And the person who he detected detects him. It's Moro. Moro still barely has any magic, especially because this is earlier on, but Buu's death unsealed that magic. He could sense Piccolo sensing him. He proposes teaming up, but that's not going to be part of Piccolo's plan, going directly to where Moro is. He doesn't break Moro out of prison. He kills Moro, stealing all of his power. Thanks to Moro being so weak at this point, it was pretty easy. Moro of course tried to counter it, but Piccolo's magic was so much stronger, even though Moro was more proficient with it, and he could feel himself growing from this, seeing how Moro steals power from people. Right off the bat, Piccolo's not proficient with it, but it's already better than what he's had before. Once he learns to fully utilize this power, it'll be so much more potent. He then makes his way to Namek in an effort to get the Dragon Balls for himself. He makes pretty quick work there, trying to absorb as many Namekians as he can. And he does steal a lot of their power, not fully assimilating with them, but just taking their energy. Although it's pretty pointless because he can't get a lot of energy from this, so he stops at some point, just trying to look for the Dragon Balls. He was hoping he'd run into the Elder, and eventually he does. It's Mori. He can't assimilate with Mori or absorb his power fully because then Porunga will disappear. However, he's the perfect bargaining chip, a hostage. Mori was worried about this, especially after what happened with Goku all those years ago. He was hoping it didn't have to come to this, but he already has a plan in mind. He lifts a hand up and then sticks it through his chest, smirking as he does so. He would literally die before he gives Piccolo the Dragon Balls. Unfortunately, he knew if he didn't do this, Piccolo would have them. And who knows what he would have wished for. This way he destroys Porunga and gatekeeps the power. But in death he's confident. He knows he'll come back. He's spoken with King Kai, who actually warned him of Piccolo coming here, and King Kai is looking for alternate options. They need to bring back Kami as well, and he has faith that Piccolo will be defeated eventually. Very soon, Piccolo will face his downfall. Piccolo's incredibly angered by this, cursing everything. Out of anger, he rips out all of the energy from Namek, absorbing it all at once just to kill everyone and destroy it, eating the energy as Moro would. It's not very quick since he doesn't have full control yet, but this was good practice, and he did grow marginally from it. But he can go even farther. And you know what? If there aren't any Dragon Balls here, it doesn't matter. There's one other set he's aiming for, the Super Dragon Balls. The only reason he hasn't gotten them yet is because they haven't reactivated yet. By spying on Goku and the others, he's learned of them. In due time, they will reactivate, so he just has to wait for a bit. And eventually they do reactivate, but the second they do, they're taken by somebody. First of all, Piccolo doesn't even know how to get to the Super Dragon Balls. He eventually did find Zuno, but it's going to be really tough, especially because he has to go to Universe 6 for some of them. And Zeno and the Grand Priest get their hands on the Dragon Balls. Because earlier on, they plan to host a Tournament of Power. Piccolo is still spying on Goku and the others, and he learns of this going on. He also learns that the Super Dragon Balls are the prize. And this really worries him, because if they get the Super Dragon Balls, who knows what they'd wish for? On top of that, if Universe 7 loses, he's gone. No matter what, he needs to get his hands on the Super Dragon Balls before anybody else can. He would have liked some more time to prepare, but it looks like now's the time to make his move. As Goku's recruiting people on Earth, Piccolo teleports to him, finally showing himself after all this time. Goku's ready to fight, but Piccolo says he's not here to fight. He's here to join Goku, wanting to join the team for the Tournament of Power. Of course, Goku's ready to kill Piccolo right now, but Piccolo assures Goku that he needs his power. Goku doesn't see why he has to do that. They could just fight here and end it now. But Piccolo's not going to let that happen. That would be stupid of him. If Goku tries to fight him, he'll simply just teleport away. Well, why does that matter to Goku then? They could do the tournament without Piccolo. Well, Piccolo has a proposition. First of all, Piccolo's pretty sure he's the strongest mortal in the universe right now. He'd be a very valuable asset for the team. But more importantly, Goku should realize that if Piccolo doesn't join Team Universe 7, he'll find a way to another universe and insert himself into that team. He's sure one of them's going to be short a fighter and would need someone strong like him. They could either have him on their team, or they could fight against him. Fighting here right now isn't an option, especially because Goku's not too sure if he could win right at the moment. With everyone else, maybe he can, but they can't risk that right before the tournament because they might lose some fighters, and if somebody dies, they can't bring them back right now. Piccolo says that the Dragon Balls on Namek are gone too. Goku's also aware of this. King Kai had told him before. They prepared for that outcome. They wanted to wait until Piccolo was dead to use the Dragon Balls, but now there are no Dragon Balls to use, which means they can't bring people like Kami back, nor anybody killed by Piccolo if he kills more people. King Kai did hatch an alternate plan, but that's irrelevant right now. The rest of the team hears that Piccolo wants to join. Gohan's the leader here, and of course Beerus hears about it too because he's the god of destruction, with Vegeta also giving input. So they can't fight Piccolo here because Piccolo can just kill them on the spot, or simply retreat if he needs to. but they know he wants to go for the Super Dragon Balls. And if he doesn't join this team, he will join another. That would be even worse because he'd be directly against them. Although, even on their team, he'll probably fight them. But Beerus steps up to Piccolo. He has a very simple solution. Why not just destroy him right now? He holds out a hand in front of Piccolo's face, charging energy. And Piccolo just laughs at it. What? Do they think he didn't prepare for this? Does Beerus really want to destroy him? What is he getting at? Well, he welcomes the Hakai. He tells Beerus he was looking to obtain a technique like this. And if Beerus uses it on him, that would be great. He could probably even absorb the attack. Not only granting him immunity, but also the ability to use it himself. Beerus can try it, he'll just be making him stronger. He theorizes no one besides Zeno could destroy him because he has counters for all this stuff thanks to his magic. But Beerus says that's ridiculous. First of all, his magic can't be that strong. Second of all, Beerus could just use a greater amount of power and make sure Piccolo can't absorb it. And Piccolo says that might be true, especially since Beerus is still far above him in power. But a measly trick like that won't work on him anymore. He's planned for it. Who's to say he doesn't have a backup plan? And again, does Beerus really want to risk giving him this power? Beerus is willing to test his bluff, but the others talk him down from it. Beerus doesn't like that they're doubting him, but Whis agrees too. They can't be too safe. Goku and Vegeta butt in too and say they saw what he did with other powers. And he is one to have a backup plan. Maybe this won't stop him. Piccolo planned ahead. They won't just destroy him on the spot. Beerus backs down, and it's a good thing he didn't do that because Piccolo actually was just bluffing. He doesn't know for sure. And if the Hakai worked against him, it would have actually destroyed him completely. He might have been able to absorb it, but he didn't know himself. It's a good thing the bluff worked. So, Universe 7 has a new focus. Gohan gives everyone the plan without filling Piccolo in, obviously. Although he has clairvoyance, he's still watching them. Their plan is just to keep as many people in the ring as possible and get Piccolo out as soon as possible too. That way, it'll ensure he can't be the MVP. But Piccolo has his own plan. When the tournament starts, he makes sure to keep people in the ring from every other universe, making sure none of the universes get eliminated. He focuses on the stronger fighters first, analyzing them and keeping the weakest from other universes in the ring. This way he could assure that Universe 7 isn't the last one standing. It needs to be him versus some other universe and nobody else from his universe in the ring. That guarantees him getting the wish. He's actively working against Universe 7 right away. The Pride Troopers decide to face him, and he eliminates most of them. Again, only leaving some of the weaker ones in the ring. Realizing Jiren's a threat, he decides to face him. Jiren actually does seem pretty powerful, and Piccolo's not too sure if he can take him on just yet. But he showcases his full strength, transforming into a brand new form, his orange form. After assimilating with Kami and training for more time, he was able to unlock this side of himself. And to make things even easier, he could just absorb energy from Jiren. He takes about half of Jiren's energy, just to assure he could win, and just to boost himself even further. And pretty easily, he gets a ring out for Jiren, with Piccolo taunting the weaker Pride Troopers that are still in the ring. Thankfully he didn't absorb and copy Toppo's power because he hadn't taken out his God of Destruction abilities just yet. But still, this is bad. Piccolo's already grown stronger, and has knocked a lot of people out. And even though Universe 7 didn't expect to fight him right here and now, especially in this setting, Goku and Vegeta have made preparations. Goku will stop this. Goku goes into Blue Kaioken, attacking Piccolo. And with a single punch, Piccolo sends him flying out of the ring. But Piccolo feels weird, like the energy he just took from Jiren is gone now, and he's not sure why. He's then attacked from behind, looking to see Goku's there. Wait, he was just knocked out of the ring. That must have been a clone or something. But things are getting weird now. Goku and Piccolo continue fighting, with Vegeta even jumping at some points to get some attacks in. And Piccolo's energy slowly starts to feel duller. He's rapidly losing power and he doesn't know why. It's not all of his power, it just feels like the excess power that he's absorbed. What he doesn't realize is that King Kai helped Goku and Vegeta even further, by pointing them to planet Yardrad. They spent a few months there learning spirit control, which allowed them to learn instant transmission, as well as force spirit fission. A perfect counter to Piccolo's magic. They didn't even account for the fact that he had Moro's abilities. This is just based on what he had before. They're fighting fire with fire here. Vegeta then starts fighting Piccolo. Piccolo is still above them in terms of power, but all the energy he absorbed from other fighters here is gone now. The energy from Namek can't be returned because they're in a completely different spot right now. But Vegeta and Goku even got some energy back himself because he did steal energy from them before. The rest of Team Universe 7 joins in to fight him. By the way, the team itself is pretty much the same, except Frieza and the androids aren't here. Yamcha, Goten, and Trunks have taken their place, but Piccolo thinks this team won't be able to do anything to him. He's distracted by them, and behind him, Goku's there, slowly gathering energy from everyone for a spirit bomb. For the longest time he wasn't able to do this thanks to Piccolo, but now he actually can. And with this attack, he'll finish Piccolo off. He launches the spirit bomb, and Piccolo tries to counter it at the last moment. He almost tries to absorb it but feels like that would be a bad idea. Something is ominous about it. So instead, he channels his own energy into it and tries to send it back to Goku, which ends up working and seemingly killing Goku. This terrifies everyone else because that means Goku's permanently dead, but that also means Piccolo's eliminated, right? He just killed someone. although weirdly enough he stays in the ring, because Goku's not dead. He awakens from this, going into Ultra Instinct Omen for the first time. And it's strange, he knows he's been training for this, but even though it's the first time he's attained it, he feels like he has really good control on it. First of all, he did regenerate after getting hit by the Spirit Bomb, which did take a lot of stamina, but he's gotten healed for the most part. Also, thanks to the purity granted to him by Purunga, on top of everything he did to counter Piccolo before, he has such a better grasp on his mental state. Nothing is clouding his mind or heart. But still, he could tell the power is fleeting. He splits himself into two, using Piccolo's own technique. One of the Goku's attacks, while another stays behind to create another Spirit Bomb. Why is he so persistent with that? Why another Spirit Bomb that didn't work before? Piccolo realizes something must be special about that attack to use on him. This time Goku has a better idea. He asks everybody to lend energy. He knows they're competitors, but they know a way to save every universe, and they need to stop Piccolo to do that. Obviously the rest of the competitors are very hesitant at first, especially the Gods of Destruction. Why would they help Universe 7? And on top of that, why is Piccolo here in the first place if he's causing all of these issues? Some of the people from Universe 7 try and explain, even including the gods of the universe besides Whis. Beerus is pretty worried about this too because if Piccolo's bluff from before was true, he should be able to absorb the Spirit Bomb, right? Although it's weird, he seems a little bit worried and he didn't try to absorb the Spirit Bomb before. Maybe he was bluffing, maybe there are some things he can't absorb. But what's so different about Goku's energy? Is it that purifying factor of it? Beerus can't tell for sure just yet, and while they try and convince the others, one person in the stand stands up, lending his energy to Goku. It's Hit. He fought Goku before, and he trusts his judgment. He would like to face him again as well. Champa can't believe it. It's really uncharacteristic for Hit to do this, but it looks like Goku really left an impression on him. Slowly, some of the others from other universes begin doing this too. The Pride Troopers join. Even Jiren does. They are facing a villain after all, and it's right to help the other universes stop him. Piccolo is fighting all of Universe 7, including half of Goku at once. He's using everything he can think of. His absorption won't work, but he splits himself into multiple fighters. He could teleport, he can create barriers, he could paralyze people. He tries everything he can. But that clone of Goku is countering Piccolo's magic. He doesn't have nearly the same amount of magic that Piccolo has, but after the two of them split, he kept some of it. And in Ultra Instinct, he's actively using that as well as the power of this form to stop Piccolo. Both physically with the power of Ultra Instinct, and magically with the power of his own magic. It's not much, but it really does help. Piccolo sees the Spirit Bomb growing larger and larger. He tries to attack the Goku that's charging the bomb, but every time he does, he just dodges instantly. Ultra Instinct keeps him safe. And then, the two Gokus merge back together. The Spirit Bomb is complete. And he doesn't throw the Spirit Bomb at Piccolo. Instead, he just instinctively absorbs it. Piccolo's plan worked against him. By not eliminating the other universes, that left more energy for Goku to gather for the Spirit Bomb. And Beerus yells out to Piccolo from the stands. He seems really worried. He was bluffing, wasn't he? Then Beerus laughs it off, even lending his own energy to Goku. The whole time Zeno is amazed. This is really entertaining. Goku absorbs the full power of the Spirit Bomb, being fueled by it, and even briefly, it makes his hair turn silver, going into the completed Ultra Instinct. But right before he attacks, Vegeta does one more thing, splitting Kami from Piccolo. He waited to the last moment to ensure Piccolo would die, but also to make sure Kami might be saved, even though he might die after the fact from being linked to Piccolo. Still, this is at least bound to help. Piccolo tries to stop Goku's attack, but nothing works. A giant dragon forms around Goku, generated from Ultra Instinct's aura. With a Dragon Fist, Goku flies right through Piccolo, channeling all of the power of the Spirit Bomb through him. And it's overwhelming. Before, the purifying energy was able to be countered by Piccolo. It didn't even seem to affect him, but the power of it has been dialed up so significantly here that he can't do anything against it. Not to mention the regular raw power of it, and the fact that his absorption is being countered by Force Spirit Fission. The energy of every universe flows through him. No one could survive an attack like this. And Piccolo's completely obliterated. Goku is then instantly eliminated from the tournament, having killed someone. But Universe 7 cleans up the rest, with Universe 7 winning the tournament, and Kami being the MVP. All of Piccolo's eliminations went to him, and somehow he's still alive. He really doesn't know how. It must have to do with Goku purifying Piccolo completely. So, despite doing nothing, he's the MVP. And he makes a very simple wish. He knows exactly what to do. He's amazed by what he's seeing around him. All of the higher gods and now is Super Shenron. But only one wish makes sense for him, even though it goes directly against Zeno. He restores all of the other universes. Goku's in the stands exhausted, but he thanks Kami. That went really well. First of all, he didn't expect Kami to even survive. But second of all, he didn't expect Kami to be the MVP and make the right wish. It's a good thing that all worked out for them. And thankfully, once they get back to their universe, Kami could use the Dragon Balls on Earth because they're back, reviving any good person killed by Piccolo's actions. Thankfully, Namek wasn't fully destroyed. After leaving the tournament, the energy stuck with Vegeta and he just simply disperses it, with it returning to its original source. Thanks to Shenron, the Namekians are brought back. And Mori is brought back too because, even though he did it to himself, it still was because of Piccolo's actions. King Kai was prepared to find another set of Dragon Balls somewhere else. Somewhere out in the universe there might be something. But it's a good thing this all went so smoothly. Kami's just relieved that all of this is over, and same for Goku too. After all this time, Piccolo's reign of terror has finally ended. They're free, Earth is back to normal, Goku's back to normal, everything is back. Although, this isn't even close to the end of their challenges. After all, a certain android hasn't showed up yet. But Piccolo's story has ended, so we end this story as a whole. What'd you guys think about this scenario? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, I'd love to see what you think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help with the channel and shows me you want to see more videos like this one. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting this scenario all the way through, and I'll see you all in my next video.